Pan Jinlian wept endlessly, tears pouring down her cheeks, as she spoke about the news of Magistrate Wu's sudden death. Sister-in-law will rely on elder sister from now on. As she said this, those slender hands moved to pull Wu Xiao in. Wu Xiao coldly glared at her. Her cold and elegant gaze was like an unsheathed blade, surprisingly making Pan Jinlian's heart terrified, retracting those extended hands of hers. Hubby is waiting for your concubine. Your concubine does not have time to deal with you lot. Call out that philanderer of yours. After your concubine kills him, she will kill you. This will be painful. Wu Xiao already remembered Su Xing, so she naturally was lucid about entering the heavenly book dream. She analyzed the sequence of events and already understood that to obtain the former volume heavenly book, she must pass through a challenge. Now that she had awoken but the heavenly book was not obtained, Wu Xiao finally understood what she had to do after hearing about the poisoning of Magistrate Wu. As expected, from Wu Xiao's attitude, the tear-stained beautiful face of Pan Jinlian was unmasked. What a pilgrim, you! Your servant was willing to stay with you, you are so heartless, to treat your sister-in-law like this. Wu Xiao stepped forward, throwing a punch. A tiger's hiss burst forth from her fist, coldly pressing head-on towards her. This feeble woman did not panic. There was a sudden flash, and she evaded this fist. Wu Xiao spun around to block Pan Jinlian's escape. How could she have foreseen the woman's martial arts were surprisingly not shabby? She leaned and escaped Wu Xiao's attack range. Wu Xiao did not give chase, coldly saying, there is also another one who has not yet shown themselves and accepted death. The moment she finished speaking, a graceful figure gently floated down from the roof. She was a distinguished and elegant woman, her brow very charming, her mien like peach blossoms, her eyes attentive. She carried a paper fan, and whenever she fanned herself, a clear breeze lingered like smoke around her. She was very refined, and that fan was accompanied by 5 shimmering stars. This was surprisingly a destined star weapon, the likes of a star generals. Wu Xiao looked. This woman's cultivation was surprisingly not very high, which gave her a sense of pressure. At the same time, Pan Jinlian showed her true colors. She sneered like a serpent, elder sister is disobedient. Lady Shiman, today, we shall make her accompany that dwarf to hell. Pan Jinlian spread her fingers. Between her fingers, 10 needles as thin as hair emerged. Although the needles were small, they nevertheless revealed cold edges, and similarly, 5 dazzling stars. Their weapons were higher than Wu Xiao's noble frost demonic lotus by 1 star. That Shiman Qing woman nodded continually, gently shaking her fan. The thin cool breeze became a blade. As expected, this was the Xian Nu of 9th Heaven's strongest trial in the former volume heavenly book. This Pan Jinlian and Shiman Qing's realms were not low, surprisingly making Wu Xiao feel pressured. Wu Xiao raised her hand, gripping the noble frost demonic lotus. Its 4 stars glinted. Lord husband is still waiting for your concubine. Your concubine does not have time to waste. These adulterous femme fatale changed expressions. Their tacit communication was unparalleled. Pan Jinlian's fingers flickered, and 10 silver lights shot out from this, forming a net of silver thread that entangled Wu Xiao's surroundings. Pan Jinlian's star weapon was known as mind-fooling ecstasy-inducing needles. This technique was her yellow rank, affection-containing sentiment. These needles upon launch specifically targeted the opponent's fatal meridians and acupuncture points. It was only a simple yellow technique, yet it had formidable injury capability. Wu Xiao swung her sword, spurting forth murderous aura. Black lotuses blossomed. Each black lotus stopped a needle. The pilgrim's figure flickered, flitting past the needles as she slashed at Pan Jinlian. Little sister, play with this lady. Shiman Qing hid her lascivious smile using her fan. The precious fan blew a nondescript breeze, beating against noble frost demonic lotus. Similarly, this was yellow technique, weak wind supporting willow, making Wu Xiao's sword unable to descend. The next moment, she pounced forth, launching herself towards the ice-cold Wu Xiao. The 5-star witch cloud-moving rain treasure fan in her hand accurately hacked at her. The clear breeze of the fan shot forth even sharper than that sword chi. It swept towards Wu Xiao like a tidal wave. Dark technique. Wanton and without restraint. But the moment Wu Xiao's noble frost demonic lotus slashed into that killing intent, it nevertheless broke free in an instant. Shimen Qing's wanton and without restraint made Wu Xiao's defenses become useless, turning the fan itself into a sharp sword. The cool breeze brushed past Wu Xiao's cheek. Several strands of her hair that flowed past her but were neatly severed, and several lines of blood appeared on her white face. The remaining killing intent became a weapon that already arrived in front of Wu Xiao, only waiting to smash its prey to pieces. Then, Shimen Qing nevertheless completely lacked a sense of victory being in sight. The woman's black eyes stirred with an indescribably profound light. That kind of genuine burning, genuine chilling light. All of the surroundings instantly became a dark flame. Then, before Shimen Qing could react in time, Wu Xiao leaned and spun again, abruptly swift as an arrow. She had already become an indistinct shadow in her eyes. When Wu Xiao's killing intent shot up to her body, it seemed to touch an invisible object and was shaken apart. The courtyard seemed to have an earthquake. A ray of black snow flashed by, leaving a glimpse of long, floating hair. Shimen Qing and Pan Jinlian were stunned. Wu Xiao was surprisingly in front of them. Wherever she passed, black lotuses descended from out of thin air. Similarly, yellow technique, 10,000-li demonic lotus dragon slaying, was used in return. What swift speed! Shimen Qing's witch cloud-moving rain fan opened. She stopped this assault head-on. The treasure fan and the noble frost demonic lotus interlocked, shaking with enormous power that blew the courtyard's tiles over, the main gate open. If this was normal times, Wu Xiao absolutely was certain this would make her opponent suffer, but Shimen Qing's star weapon was already 5-star. She was temporarily unable to move. The pilgrim's attack missed, and she pulled back, again avoiding the sneak attack of Pan Jinlian's mind-fooling ecstasy-inducing needles. Blood-splashing Mandarin duck. Noble frost demonic lotus became twin swords, their sword light crossed over Pan Jinlian's neck. Little sister, courting death. Pan Jinlian was wounded, and she was immediately like a shrew, her charming turning into malevolence. Her fingers clawed, quick as a gust, giving Wu Xiao scratches on her cheek. Dark technique, scalding soul. Silver light flashed. Pan Jinlian's speed was extremely quick and flanked Wu Xiao. Her claws dug into Wu Xiao's back, sticking her needles directly in. Wu Xiao's expression changed. She changed her footwork, spun and used sweep kick, smoothly knocking Pan Jinlian onto the ground. Shimen Qing also clawed the air, attacking. The treasure fan swung directly at Wu Xiao's cranium. Wu Xiao could only lean, but Shimen Qing raised the fan, and a storm flew out of the fan, blowing Wu Xiao away. A snow-white petal fluttered about at the same time in the storm. Then, it flickered over Wu Xiao's whole body. Earth rank. Flower blowing snow. This technique was absolutely beautiful. A clear breeze rose, and white snow flew, completely shattering Wu Xiao's pride, making the pilgrim cut a very sorry figure. Pan Jinlian stood up, escaping from flower-blowing snow. Red spots appeared all over Pan Jinlian's body. She waited until Wu Xiao fell onto the ground to use earth technique, falling red apricots filling sky, to settle the victory. Shit! Wu Xiao's heel had only just touched the ground. Pan Jinlian smirked as she unleashed her attack. The opponent in the former volume Heavenly Book's final trial was superior to her in both star weapon and realm. Wu Xiao was without any advantages, especially with two people working perfectly together, making this even more troublesome. Against this earth technique, Wu Xiao could only gather all of her star energy for protection to avoid being killed. If she perceived death in the dream, then she would be awakened. This was common sense for anyone, and Wu Xiao would not allow this to happen. Falling red apricots filling sky sealed all of Wu Xiao's counterattack movements and escape route. The half-kneeling Wu Xiao could sense Pan Jinlian's formidable menace as well as the intense pain over her whole body from the red apricots. Under two earth techniques, Wu Xiao could barely last. At least she did not have a death sensation. Good thing hubby cannot see your concubine's sorry figure. Star energy was still continuously flowing into her. Wu Xiao could sense power in her body. Pan Jinlian and Shimin Qing descended. One smirking, the other sneering as they stared at Wu Xiao. Still alive, surprisingly. As expected of the tiger fighting hero, Constable Wu. Elder sister is truly powerful, Jinlian is even wet. Such a pity, such a pity. Pan Jinlian clamped her legs together, licking the blood off her fingers and needles. Those droplets of blood came from Wu Xiao's cheek. They still had a woman's scent, acting like an aphrodisiac, making Pan Jinlian show even more amorous desire. A pilgrim like this will never be able to take the heavenly book. Shimin Qing said. Wu Xiao rose, taking the flask at her waist. She took a big swig, and immediately, her cheeks were flushed, and her eyes surprisingly had some charm. This sort of elder sister is truly too sexy. Jinlian truly cannot wait to climax with elder sister. Pan Jinlian burned with lust. On the other hand, Shimin Qing felt a chill. Be careful. She promptly moved her fan. Endless killing intent like a gale suddenly pounced up. Facing this attacking storm, Wu Xiao paid it no heed. Drunk, her footsteps wobbled, her body tipping this way and that, her beautiful figure swaying. The storming killing intent suddenly became incomparably gentle the instant Wu Xiao rose. Harm Star Pilgrim's hand stroked her warm lips, the double sword in her hand already attacking. Shimin Qing's fan attacked. Another flower blowing snow engulfed that cool and elegant figure. Milady, look out! Pan Jinlian shouted. What? An awe-inspiring presence had appeared behind her somehow. Shimin Qing was shocked to see Wu Xiao. Just how did she get behind me? Shimin Qing was incredulous, but she very quickly stopped pondering this. Immediately, the fan's arrogance attacked her enemy. Wu Xiao was intoxicated, inadvertently evading this killing intent. Shimin Qing's eyebrows rose. This attack honestly was not bad. Even while like this, she could still evade. Shimin Qing chilled her expression, continuously waving the treasure fan. The cool breeze became a succession of wind blade attacks that acted as her response. Several dozen wind blades once again screamed towards their target, like an enormous net to ensnare Wu Xiao, but this was completely useless. They were completely evaded easily by Wu Xiao's drunken posture. That lovely as water expression easily appeared before the two women. Only at this time did Lady Shimin finally feel fear. This was a heaven-earth dark yellow skill. Milady, do not be afraid, it will be over very quickly. Wu Xiao's voice was somewhat abnormally charming, as if she was a completely different person from the Harm Star from before. If it could be said that the Wu Xiao before was cool and elegant, the current one was bewitching. That seemingly unsteady body of hers nevertheless was able to easily avoid every one of their attacks, making them completely unable to catch on to her body techniques. Even their higher realms were completely useless. The smile that could enthrall all living things was overturned, the roaring wind was torn apart. Wu Xiao's twin swords descended like a ferocious tiger. In the next instant, she grasped the double-ended sword and separated her hands, turning Noble Frost Demonic Lotus into two swords, one of pure frost and snow, and the other as dark as night. The pilgrim and her swords became a bolt of lightning, shooting directly towards Shimin Qing. Even the drunken Wu Xiao maintained a perspective that was more composed than an ordinary person's. She knew that if she faced these two opponents together, then she simply could not win, and from her point of view, among the two of them, Shimin Qing was absolutely the attacker while Pan Jinlian merely followed along. So long as she killed Shimin Qing, this heavenly book would be secure. The Wu Xiao who used do not laugh laying drunk on battlefield already put in her all. Her true phoenix realm surpassed Shimin Qing and Pan Jinlian by a wide margin. When these double swords descended, a true phoenix emerged from her back, carrying an absolutely terrifying presence. So fast. Shimin Qing's pupils shrunk. The charming Wu Xiao already arrived. Her first slash brought a scorching hot flame. Shimin Qing promptly intercepted, but Wu Xiao's second sword already closed in. Even faster than before. This attack exceeded common sense. No, whilst in the rhythm of do not laugh laying drunk on battlefield, any judgment towards Wu Xiao's attacks lost significance. The somewhat intoxicated Wu Xiao's double sword attack became something beyond the understanding of common sense. Unable to grasp her, the woman thoroughly panicked and could only promptly roll her fan, attempting to block this attack. This is bad. Her knees were slashed, and Shimin Qing nearly buckled. Of course, Shimin Qing did not kneel. In actuality, the two swords each stuck between her ribs, propping her body up like two handles. Shimin Qing grit her teeth. The fan fell, once again shattering Wu Xiao's shoulder. But the drunken Wu Xiao apparently did not feel the pain. The woman charmingly danced. The two swords continued to attack. The final slash slid across Shimin Qing's neck, thoroughly removing her breath. To last for such a brief moment, your concubine still has not enjoyed herself. Wu Xiao said with excitement. Her gaze was extremely lovely, that voice more alluring than a fox's, making the Pan Jinlian with the charm, innate skill tongue-tied. Surprisingly a heaven-earth dark yellow skill, the one elder sister shares with that person. This truly makes Jinlian envious. Though Shimin Qing died, Pan Jinlian was not distressed or afraid. Instead, she jeered. After using a heaven-earth dark yellow skill, you will be very weak. Killing her was fine, perfect for joining Jinliang, what do you say? Pan Jinlian licked her lips. Wu Xiao smiled very warmly. One sword attacked, blooming peach blossoms as it flew directly towards Pan Jinlian. This was a response to her falling red apricots filling heaven. Pan Jinlian's smile vanished. To still be able to use an earth rank during her heaven-earth dark yellow skill. Ownerless peach tree is in full bloom. Jingyang Ridge. The 5th day after Wu Xiao entered her dream, the 15th day of the heavenly books. Su Xing was waiting for Wu Xiao's news. His forehead star crest flickered, and his star energy was continuously transmitted to the pilgrim. The other girls were somewhat uneasy. 7 days had passed since they came to Jingyang Ridge, and half of the time for the heavenly books had passed. Although from a Star General's perspective comprehending the former volume heavenly book in 7 days was already pretty good, Su Xing had too many Star Generals. The other girls would have no time at all. Even Wu Xiao was somewhat worried. But just what the final trial of the former volume heavenly book was, no one knew for sure. They could only maintain a calm attitude as much as possible. Su Xing actually was steady as Mount Tai, sitting with Wu Xiao, wiping her sweat from time to time, calmly gazing at Wu Xiao's face. A while after. Finally, Wu Xiao opened her eyes. The Su Xing staring at her only felt Wu Xiao's eyes were as beautiful as the shimmering stars, deep as the boundless sea of stars. Lord husband. Wu Xiao gently said. Su Xing sighed in relief and drew Wu Xiao into his embrace. Elder sister Xiao, you finally woke up. Sure Yuan happily exclaimed. That was tough. Lin Yingmei knowingly smiled at her best friend. All of the girls gazed at Wu Xiao. Having gone through a long wait, they hoped the pilgrim could bear good news. Wu Xiao did not disappoint them. She raised her hand, and 3 golden heavenly books appeared out of thin air, each volume more dazzling, more magnificent than the last. Astonishingly, this was a complete 3-volume heavenly book. Sure Yuan jumped in joy. Sister Xiao is so amazing, you obtained the former volume heavenly book. How long was your concubine in the dream? Wu Xiao asked. Su Xing smiled and said, you entered the dream for just 7 days. 7 days. Then the time left for the heavenly books is a mere 15 days. Wu Xiao was very dissatisfied with this result. She had already come to Jingyang Ridge, the most suitable place for the Harm Star pilgrim to enter the dream, but the time she used was 7 days. The heavenly books had 15 days left, and there were still Lin Yingmei, Hun Yangzi, Wu Xinjie, Yan Yizhen, Zhang Yuqi, Gong Sun Huang, Hua Wanyue, and Lu Shaking that had chances to obtain heavenly books. With only 15 days, this was completely impossible to achieve. Seo, there is no need to blame yourself. You only used 5 days to comprehend the former volume heavenly book. This is already very good. Hua Wanyue gracefully smiled. My heavenly book is not so important. So long as you and Yingmei obtain them, I can be at ease. N. The others nodded. Wu Xiao and Lin Yingmei were both 1,000-year martial generals. Their martial forces were the strongest, so their heavenly books naturally would be the most useful. There are still 10 days. Give them to Yingmei, Little Huang, and Shaking. Little Yi, Wanyue, Nyangzi, Yuqi, what about you? Wu Xinji pondered. Yingmei naturally needed to comprehend her heaven rank. As the top-notch magic energy star general, Little Huang could not be lacking either. The remaining time was precious. Considering Lu Shaking had only just regrouped with them, she ought to have no issue obtaining her former volume heavenly book with her meditative mind and realm. However, they could only wrong Hua Wanyue, Hun Yangzi and Zhang Yuqi by doing so. Xinjie, you are ranked 3rd. The opportunity for these books ought to be given to you. Lu Shaking slightly smiled, not minding at all. No, Xinjie has considered this very carefully. I can comprehend heaven rank, even without using a heavenly book. Wu Xinjie earnestly said. You all have accompanied Lord Benefactor through thick and thin. How can Shaking take this opportunity without merit or virtue? Lu Shaking put her hands together, also very resolute. Su Xing helplessly said, Wifeys, stop arguing for now. I feel if we don't want the former volume heavenly books in the final few days, then Xinjie, Shaking, Little Yi, Nyangzi, Yuqi, and Suan all have chances to obtain the middle and latter volumes. This is better. Shaking agrees with Lord Benefactor. Wu Xinjie contemplated. Su Xing's analysis was far calmer than her own. But it is a pity we would have only 3 former volume heavenly books. That's okay. Su Xing was quite indifferent. His power to scale Maiden Mountain was fine anyways. Everyone thought this was the only choice. If only there was a place we can comprehend the heavenly books together. And Suan gently sighed. Yeah. Sure, Yuan felt the same. It was a pity that comprehending the heavenly books required corresponding 5 elements topography. The conditions for a former heavenly book were even more bothersome. This one actually is a method that can allow you to comprehend them together without the rush. Suddenly, a dignified voice exploded in their ears. Every time Chao Wuhui randomly appeared, she always made Su Xing feel this woman made a hobby out of following him. Otherwise, with so many star masters in Liangshan continent, how was it that she always paid attention to him? What's your solution? Su Xing asked apprehensively. Since the Star Duel's guardian again conferred upon him a calamity, Chao Wuhui definitely would not help him without good cause. The solution was in your hands all along. This one is merely reminding you out of kindness. This one did not come this time to harm you. Chao Gai said. I'm not capable of a 5 elements reversal formation, I can't change the terrain. Su Xing twitched his lips. If he had such an ability, he would have already done this. He did not need Chao Gai to remind him. Chao Wuhui only stared at Su Xing's Jian feather, smiling silently. Wu Xinjie's brow rose and said, Wuhui, could you be referring to the flying swords? Precisely. Flying swords? Young Lord's heavenly spirit earthly fiend purple star 5 elements swords. Wu Xinjie punched her palm. Of course, how could she have forgotten this? The heavenly spirit earthly fiend purple star 5 element swords were not like the average sword chant. Their powers were vast, particularly that this immemorial 5 elements flying swords were each forged from materials representing the 5 elements. The topography of no other place could compare. Just by activating the 5 elements sword chant and arranging 5 elements sword arrays, he could use the might of the 5 elements swords to create an area with the 5 elements without any issue. Su Xing made the realization. But young master's water element swords have yet to be forged. We are missing one element. Lin Yingmei gently shook her head. The hope that had only just ignited was extinguished. Su Xing truly was gloomy enough to knock his head against the wall. If he knew earlier this was possible, he would have first forged the water element swords. Apologies, young lord. Xinjie was too careless. As their strategist, she did not foresee this. Wu Xinjie was similarly depressed to death. However, she could not be blamed. Since ancient times, there had never been a record of using sword arrays to create a 5 elements topography. If it was not for Chao Gai's reminder, perhaps the feasibility of this method would have been doubtful. To forge the water element swords right now was too late. They would have to first go to the area with black ice, then forge the swords. The trip would require more than 10 days. By that time, even if he forged the 5 elements sword array, they would have no time to comprehend. There is another way, Su Xing muttered. Dear husband, do not force yourself. Nyangzi does not mind not having a heavenly book. Hu Nyangzi feared Su Xing would hurt himself again. Su Xing smiled and said, we can find someone to help substitute for the water element swords. Who can substitute for the water element swords? Although Yingmei is water element, doesn't she need an extremely cold place to work? Yuqi actually only needs a place with water. Zhang Yuqi thought. Someone who possesses ice-type flying swords can complement a 5 elements sword array. They must have superb array compatibility and be on very good terms with young master. As everyone spoke, an immaculate fairy of clothes that surpassed snow suddenly jumped into their minds. To say she was an ice-cold fairy was an understatement. Immortal hero Princess Gong Caiwei. Su Xing nodded. Yingmei and Xiao said that Caiwei went to the black ice abyss to subdue a black crystal ice qilin. She has the resourceful strategist Zhu Sha. To arrange such a 5 elements water array should be very simple. This is great. Su Xing, let's go find her right now. Shi Yuan excitedly said. However, after the heavenly books started, star masters will perhaps be difficult to find as they comprehend the heavenly books. Wu Xiao said. Chao Gai said, the resourceful strategist is currently at Ice Soul Valley. You can find her there. Chao Gai, why are you telling us this? Wu Xinjie asked with some precaution. Chao Gai smiled but did not answer. Regardless of what she was planning, she had helped them solve a problem, after all. Su Xing still cupped his fist and thanked her. Afterwards, all of the girls boarded the dragon boat and headed towards Ice Soul Valley. Not long after, 2 people walked out of Jingyang Ridge. Liked it? Chao Gai, just what are you planning? The elegant and culture man was Bing Lingfeng. Although the girl beside him was wrapped in a cloak and did not show her face, her voice was nevertheless smooth, stunning all of Jingyang Ridge. Even the fauna had all been mesmerized. Since he has obtained a former volume heavenly book, it should be time for the trial, correct? Bing Lingfeng was confused. With only one heavenly book, his power is still considered weak. You just pointed out to him the way to obtain multiple heavenly books. Can it not be that you are turning things very difficult? Chao Wuhui retracted her smiled. She looked at Hu Banzhuang with a stern expression. This one has something that requires your aid, Banzhuang. Speak. Hu Banzhuang said. This one's method makes Su Xing's top-notch star generals all enter their dreams. By doing so, the only one who can help him is Harm Star Pilgrim Wusong. At that time, this one needs you to go give him his trial. Bing Lingfeng and Hu Banzhuang were both taken aback. They had thought that Thousand Buddha star Chao Gai was giving succor to the enemy. They never expected that she was surprisingly so sinister. Banzhuang does not need you to use this method, Chao Gai. Hu Banzhuang directly refused. As the overlord of the 7th generation, the bright star had city-toppling beauty and kingdom-destroying ambition. She disdained using this little trick against Su Xing's little bit of strength. This one does not want to make you kill him. Rather, this one wants you to help him. Chao Wuhui's words once again astonished them. What do you mean? Chao Wuhui gazed at Maiden Mountain in the horizon and said, presumably, you too should have sensed that the 5th and 6th overlords have lost their true spirits. They have already been killed. The one who came down from Maiden Mountain. Bing Lingfeng pondered. Fang La. The strongest enemy of the star generals. Chao Wuhui did not conceal this. In these star duels, the consequences for the others who want to scale Maiden Mountain are perhaps difficult to predict, so this one requires that you go train Su Xing, raise him to be a formidable star master. Hu Banzhuang, you have a 7-star destined weapon, true Phoenix Realm's 7th stage, and you are comparable to Xian, Liang, Shu, and De. If he is unable to defeat even you, then he will merely be sending himself off to die when faced against Fang La. But our original agreement was to have Song Jiang scale Maiden Mountain. To raise him into a strong enemy, are we not asking for trouble? Bing Lingfeng was even more surprised. Lord Husband, Chao Gai is merely exploiting him to go face Fang La. Hu Banzhuang calmly said. Chao Wuhui smiled, as if she was confirming the bright star's words. You have seen his power. Lin Chong and Wu Song both follow him. He is the only one capable of risking everything against Mojia. And after he and Fang La are both exhausted, have Song Jiang finish them off. Hu Banzhuang nodded. She truly was fond of simple, crude, direct and efficient methods. Bing Lingfeng was perplexed, but why are you so certain he can face Fang La? Since she came from Star World, she will be very difficult to handle. Because Su Xing has Panther Head Lin Yingmei's battle doctrine. Give him enough time, and he can surpass a star general. Chao Wuhui was very frank. The two of them sunk into thought. Seeing her hesitate, Chao Wuhui said, be at ease, this one naturally will also aid Song Jiang and the other star masters increase their strength. Because this one needs to use them. Pausing, Chao Wuhui slowly said, and you should have seen the 9th bright star just now. Her beauty does not fall behind yours and similarly shares husband-wife address with Su Xing. Furthermore, they are already husband and wife in fact. Do you not look forward to this man who smashed the star duel's 1,000 years of tradition? Hearing they were actually husband and wife made even the calm Hu Banzhuang stunned. Smashed? Your servant feels they have been disintegrated. Bingling Feng drew in a sharp breath. To take the virginity of a star general was honestly defiant of natural order. How about it then? You too. Chao Wuhui was very self-confident. Hu Banzhuang did not have an answer. She first went to ask the man beside her, Lord Husband, your servant shall leave this for Lord Husband to decide. She clearly possesses greater strength, but the leadership role is nevertheless handed to the man at her side. It appears she indeed take him into consideration, Chao Gai thought. Bing Lingfeng pondered, since you said so, Chao Gai, then we shall follow her words, wife. Now that the Star General's strongest enemy had taken the stage, testing Su Xing naturally already lacked any significance. Bingling Feng weighed the advantages and disadvantages, acquiescing to Chao Gai's request in the end. Your servant shall properly instruct him. Hu Banzhuang answered. For the sake of helping Song Jiang scale Maiden Mountain, you have truly gone to great lengths, Chao Gai. Bingling Feng laughed. Chao Wuhui was expressionless. She gazed at the boundless horizon. No one could guess the 1,000 Buddha stars' mind. 3 days later, Ice Soul Valley. Lakeside. The black crystal ice Qilin was currently lowering its head to drink the ice lake's water. Gong Caiwei was nearby reading 3 heavenly books. All of a sudden, the black crystal ice Qilin lifted its head from the lake and gazed at the sky. Gong Caiwei sensed a disturbance and raised her brow. A star-like dragon boat flew over the Ice Soul Valley's sky. Gong Caiwei thought this was familiar and made the black crystal ice abyss renounce its hostility. The dragon boat very quickly noticed the girl and descended. Caiwei. Su Xing and the others walked out of the dragon boat. Upon seeing the ice-cold girl with clothes that surpassed snow, he breathed a sigh of relief. Chao Wuhui did not deceive him. Gong Caiwei was indeed at Ice Soul Valley with Zhu Sha. Su Xing. A joyous smile heedlessly flit across the corner of Gong Caiwei's mouth, but she very quickly composed herself. She blinked, hinting her confusion. At this time, the heavenly books had already begun. Su Xing ought to be rushing all over the place with those wives of his comprehending the heavenly books. Why would he run all the way to the Ice Soul Valley? As far as she knew, the Ice Soul Valley was not a suitable environment at all for a top-notch martial general like Lin Yingmei to enter a dream. What has happened? Gong Caiwei stepped forward. Caiwei, I have something to ask you. Su Xing promptly said. Hearing him say her name, Gong Caiwei's mind fluctuated. She blinked, her tone warming up, please speak. Su Xing summarized the course of events. To be frank, any other person that heard of this problem would feel that Su Xing would perhaps be mad. True, the Star Masters in the Star Duels were inherently enemies. To unexpectedly have an enemy help substitute as the crux of a 5-element sword array, and this sword array was to give at least 8 famous martial generals comprehension of the former volume heavenly books. Only another lunatic would agree to a preposterous request like this. Therefore, Gong Caiwei assented without any thinking at all, even though the girl was colder than anyone else in Liangshan continent. My ice spirit snow soul flying swords can act as the substitute. Zhu Sha will use the 5 elements weather banner to protect them. Then, because the ice qilin feeds on ice and frost, this water element formation should not be a problem. Gong Caiwei analyzed, suddenly feeling this task was truly perfect for her. Su Xing sighed in relief, thank you so much, Caiwei. It is very rare to be able to help you. Gong Caiwei slightly shook her head, a smile appearing on her lips. Zhu Sha, you go help Su Xing prepare a sword array. Zhu Sha affirmed. Su Xing summoned his divine intent, calling forth the metal element Heaven Tearing, wood element Langia, fire element Jian Feather, and earth element Time Immemorial. The 4 elements flying swords glowed with different halos. All of a sudden, the golden light was fierce, all of a sudden, the green bamboo was a forest, all of a sudden, clinging fire ignited, all of a sudden, the 5 sacred mountains appeared. 4 scenes appeared, extremely profound. Then, the 4 elements' swords spread out. Zhu Sha arranged a formation, trapping the 4 swords. Gong Caiwei then summoned her ice spirit snow soul swords, placing them into the water element slot. With her array innate skill, substituting into Su Xing's 5-element sword array was not an issue, but a life-cast link was still a life-cast link. The insertion of Gong Caiwei's flying sword seemed like her body was being invaded by Su Xing. She felt a kind of indescribable sensation permeate throughout her whole body. This made Gong Caiwei nearly falter. This sensation was quite similar to back then in Flower Dragon Cave, but with more harmony. Su Xing also felt this and glanced at Gong Caiwei. The immortal hero princess face blushed, and she averted her gaze. Su Xing, please concentrate on your energy. Su Xing knew this was not the time to have flights of fancy. He nodded, and the flying swords immediately resonated. The power of the 5 elements combined, but Gong Caiwei's water element swords were still too weak. They were far from comparison to Su Xing's 4 elements constructed from immemorial materials. They now needed the black crystal ice qilin to contribute. This ice-type divine beast of Liangshan continent resided in the coldest black ice abyss. Its ice type was instantly visible. The black crystal ice abyss walked into the center of the array, immediately making the light of ice spirit snow soul swords glow brilliantly. They were finally one. Gong Caiwei did her utmost to endure, but an alluring groan still broke out of her throat. This young lady seems to hear this noise often at night. Shi Yuan winked. Gong Caiwei blushed furiously. Zhu Sha formed the array and summoned her Kasha rabbit, using the 5 elements weather banner to fix the 5 elements. By doing so, upon the Ice Soul Valley's originally snowy terrain, an inconceivable 5 elements environment formation took shape, containing burning fire, a shady bamboo grove, a starry sacred mountain, fluttering golden lights and ice filling the sky. Sister, do not betray Lord Husband's hopes, Wu Xiao declared. All of the girls smiled and nodded. They entered their respective 5 elements topography, sat cross-legged, meditated and very quickly entered the dream. Suddenly, 9 stars flashed, stunning the world. Su Xing's expression was incomparably pale. He alone partitioned his power across 9 star generals. The burden was easy to imagine. Fortunately, they had only just begun and had not reached the former volume Heavenly Book stage. The most terrifying star energy expenditure was still bearable. Gong Caiwei only felt stifled seeing such power. She gazed at Su Xing with complex feelings. Su Xing, you truly put forth everything for them. Gong Caiwei smiled. If it was you, Caiwei, you would do the same. Su Xing did not feel this was exceptional at all. Zhu Sha has comprehended the former volume Heavenly Book. He saw those 3 floating heavenly books and asked. Gong Caiwei nodded. As expected of the leader's star resourceful strategist, the former volume Heavenly Book was easily within her grasp. Then good. Su Xing had feared he disturbed Gong Caiwei and Zhu Sha. It's better to use the Heavenly Book as soon as possible. Gong Caiwei slightly smiled and asked back, Su Xing, what is your wish after you ascend? I don't have any wish in particular, but I want to help them end the star duels. Su Xing gazed at his wives, his expression very earnest. Although I don't have any relation to the future star duels, those that come after are considered their sisters. I don't want them to slaughter each other. Do you truly believe you can end the star duels? Can it be that you do not fear Maiden Mountain? To be frank, you can't not do anything just because you're afraid. Su Xing laughed. Gong Caiwei smiled. A good answer. Caiwei, how about we ascend Maiden Mountain together? This time, we don't need any overlord, let's just go ask this Maiden Mountain. Su Xing was serious. I believe in you. Gong Caiwei nodded, acquiescing. Su Xing smiled. Gong Caiwei's smile was very soothing. The immortal hero princess pondered then gestured with her hand. A heavenly book floated in front of Su Xing. This former volume Heavenly Book shall be gifted to you, liked it? Shiyu encountering Yan Wudao was an annoyance. In terms of cultivation, Shiyu was higher than Yan Wudao by a bit, but Featherless Arrow was nevertheless formidable. Her top-notch concealed weapons were such that even a first-rate martial general would find it difficult to fend off, let alone boatman Zhang Feiyu. Zhang Biluo's body techniques appeared and disappeared at random, drifting about. The asking directions to the underworld stones struck Zhang Feiyu without any techniques, their incessant battering infuriating Zhang Feiyu to no end. You are honestly quite tenacious. Zhang Biluo saw that Zhang Feiyu was still persevering and could not help but be very surprised. But even if you were Lin Chong, do not think that you can last much longer under Biluo's concealed weapons. The girl's voice was gentle. She spread her fingers, and the concealed weapons disappeared. With a series of bangs, the ghost flames pounded. Zhang Feiyu raised the flaming Fish King saber but was doomed. The 5-star concealed weapon flashed by, sending Zhang Feiyu flying. Seeing Zhang Feiyu fall to a disadvantage, Shiyu put forth everything she could against Yan Wudao. She hoped to at least defeat Yan Wudao, to ease the pressure on Zhang Feiyu. But Yan Wudao was not one to be idle. During the birth outline, he had slain a 6th-rank demon beast by himself. Full of ambition, in the Azure Dragon territory he was a genius second only to Xie Zhenyuan. Although Shiyu's cultivation surpassed his, in terms of wit, cunning, and cultivation realm, Yan Wudao far outmatched her. Without saying a word, the man produced the 6 paths plate. Black Chi sword. Ray after ray shot over and first restrained Shiyu's dual mode's ruler. Then, he controlled the 9 Hells Rebirth flying swords formed a terrifying sword array. Shiyu waved her hand. The clinging heaven Vermilion Jian's true spirit manifested. Its feathers fluttering, displaying a powerful pressure. However, Yan Wudao's objective was not Shiyu. He only wanted to kill noble star Chai Jin to obtain her red ink iron certificate. Back at the palace of Empress Hua, Zhang Biluo made even Zhao Hanyan, Xia Zhenyuan, and Long Nu all suffer under her top-notch concealed weapons. How could Shiyu stop them? Step onto the road to hell that Biluo has prepared. Zhang Biluo's slender fingers curled as if throwing a ball. Her concealed weapons hid into thin air, their green flames splashing in all directions. The asking directions to the underworld stones slowly vanished, their speed out of the ordinary. Zhang Feiyu practically was unable to track the concealed weapons' trajectories. By the time she spotted them, they were already in front of her. Bang, bang, bang. Consecutive collisions resounded. Zhang Feiyu endured the injuries covering her whole body. She brandished the flaming Fish King saber with all her might. The 4-star greatsword in her hand released flames that became a fish dragon that twisted towards Zhang Biluo. Zhang Qing's figure hid away, making Zhang Feiyu's attack miss. Her concealed weapons were truly formidable. A 5-star concealed weapon was not necessarily able to contend against a 4-star weapon's might, but she was no match against superior numbers and their random appearances. Elder sister, look out! Just as several concealed weapons were about to kill Zhang Feiyu, Gu Tong finally ran out. Although she did not have a star nest or a star master, the girl was not afraid. Her aura boiled, and she opened her mouth. Lioness from Hedong roars. Her formless voice was even faster than those concealed weapons, shaking the air with waves. She seemed to rip the air itself apart. Those randomly appearing and disappearing concealed weapons were surprisingly forced to reveal themselves by this sound, but Zhang Biluo's concealed weapons were already 5-star. Gu Tong was merely 3-star, how could her yellow technique handle them? But those concealed weapons were locked down for only a few seconds. With a bang, green flames pierced through the air, becoming arrows. The asking directions to the underworld stones struck Gu Tong's shoulder, shattering the girl's bone. Leave, quickly. Don't be reckless. Zhang Feiyu was very alarmed. She knew that Gu Tong could not possibly be Zhang Biluo's opponent. If she suffered an accident, then Zhang Feiyu truly could not face Su Xing. Zhang Feiyu nevertheless did not have the strength to continue battle. Little sisters, be at ease. Zhang Biluo hovered in the air, the stones flying imposingly between her fingers, glinting. Another hell has no road. Gu Tong opened her mouth, similarly preparing her dark technique to Thagata's proper sound. A tiger appeared and jumped onto her shoulder. That star beast also opened its mouth, suddenly magnifying the power of Gu Tong's dark technique by several fold. There was a rumble. Tathagata's proper sound finally broke the concealed weapons. Truly loathsome. Zhang Biluo pointed her finger. A light passed by, slaying the tiger on Gu Tong's shoulder. At this time, Shiyu saw that the situation was becoming increasingly dangerous. She was somewhat worried in her heart. She secured her divine intent and currently hesitated whether or not to use the light-shifting image-switching mirror. Su Xing handed her this mirror when she had gone to the Black Turtle territory in search of Zhen Wu Divine Iron. It was linked to Wu Xiao, and the point was that this would protect Shiyu should she encounter danger. But though Shiyu accepted Su Xing's concern, she never planned to use it. Su Xing had paid so much for her, the water illusion fairy wanted to provide proof that Su Xing no longer had to worry about her. Gritting her teeth, Shiyu resisted using it. Zhang Biluo appeared. The 8 asking directions to the underworld stones whirled between her fingers. Following her sneer, they shot over. Their light flashed. In the blink of an eye, a giant net several zhang wide took shape in front of them, shimmering with green light. It bluntly wrapped around them. At the same time, Yan Wudao activated his sword chant. A black sword light twisted into several dozen rays, each one splitting off into its own attack. Zhang Biluo and Yan Wudao's combination attack contained killing intent that was exceptionally shocking. If it was an ordinary cultivator, perhaps before the concealed weapons even reached them, they would have been frozen in place by the killing intent alone, their magic energy ebbing away. After all, Shiyu was a supervoid middle-stage star master. She would not react as fearfully as a normal cultivator. Shiyu's expression sunk. Her hands twisted. After a light passed by, the vermilion Jian's clinging fire attacked with Shiyu's flying swords, temporarily resisting. Biluo. Yan Wudao coldly said. Zhang Biluo complacently curled the corner of her mouth. Biluo understands. All of a sudden, the flowing concealed weapons entirely vanished. A stifling atmosphere filled the air. Not good, an earth rank. Shiyu's expression changed. Just as she was left with no choice but to use the light-shifting image-switching mirror, all of a sudden, a ray of golden light shot up into the sky from the ground, firing towards Zhang Biluo. The agile star quickly ended her earth rank. She hid into the shadows, evading in shock, turning her head in surprise. Who is disturbing this palace's rest? Gu Tong heard this voice, and her expression was immediately very excited. Elder sister Chai Ling. The noble star little whirlwind Chai Ling, who had been in the dream, finally opened her haughty eyes. The Shinger in her bosom spat a beam of golden light. When Yan Wudao saw that Chai Ling had awakened, they had lost their golden opportunity to kill the noble star. Still, the man explosively shouted, activating the agile star's innate skill random appearance and disappearance, directly avoiding Shiyu. 100 rebirth flying swords formed a bridge, chaining his killing intent towards Chai Ling precarious bridge sword array. Chai Ling's brows rose. She tenderly stroked Shinger. The three-eyed wealth-inviting beast's eye glowed. It was suddenly blindingly bright. Throw away money recklessly. A powerful golden light tyrannically blocked Yan Wudao's flying swords, but the actual trump card came after. Zhang Biluo appeared above them, her green skirt fluttering, lights moving between her fingers. Earth rank concealed weapon, 10,000 Ghosts Penitence, was about to activate. The strongest concealed weapon Star General's 5-star Earth rank concealed weapon was enough to instantly dispatch everyone present, yet even Chai Ling could not help but be excited. But just as 10,000 Ghosts Penitence was about to execute, Gu Tong had already anticipated this and stole the initiative. Female Tiger roared, using her own earth rank. Her loud voice resounded, great and formless. Her invisible voice directly covered Zhang Biluo. The girl's body suddenly stiffened in midair, freezing her attack. Golden 10,000 Liang. A ray of golden light struck Zhang Biluo. When Shiyu saw this, she no longer held back. She waved her palm, and clinging fire descended from the heavens, covering Yan Wudao's line of sight. By the time the slam subsided, 11 Yu, Chai Ling, and Gu Tong had vanished without a trace. Damn it! Yan Wudao was furious when he saw that the noble star had escaped. He hurried to Zhang Biluo and checked the girl's injuries. Fortunately, even though 10,000 Ghosts Penitence did not completely succeed, a portion of the concealed weapons had helped stop the majority of the blow. Her injuries were not too severe. Yan Wudao used his star energy to help her recover, immediately using his latter volume Heavenly Book to seek out Chai Ling. In a range of 100 kilometers. We shall go search for her. She definitely cannot have gone far. Yan Wudao said in a low voice. After Zhang Biluo obtained her former volume Heavenly Book, he began to utilize the latter volume Heavenly Book to search for other targets comprehending their Heavenly Books. This was a very common method in the past star duels. On OE hand, he could obtain the Heavenly Books of other star generals. On the other, he could perhaps run into some top-notch star generals to kill. Yan Wudao never imagined he would surprisingly encounter the noble star Little Whirlwind. The star maiden who kept the red ink iron certificate had surprisingly joined in these 9th star duels. This was an existence more enticing than Song Jiang, but just what was the relationship between that girl and her? Why would she be so friendly to the noble star, especially to do her utmost to protect her? Out of all the star masters in the wood who would not be interested in the noble star, there was only the purple thunder monster, but that woman definitely was not him. Neither did it seem she had contracted 3 star generals. Yan Wudao was increasingly perplexed. Vague unease appeared in his heart. Could it be that the purple thunder monster was already beginning to prepare for the 7 stars assembly? Yan Wudao's hypothesis was actually somewhat close. Su Xing indeed was beginning to prepare for the 7 stars assembly. He had a few candidates in his heart, but his 7 stars assembly and the one Yan Wudao thought of were not at all alike. Su Xing was preparing to find a few like-minded war buddies that he could genuinely trust in and vice versa, for example, Zhao Hanyan and Gong Caiwei, that he could team up with to face Maiden Mountain. As for destroying opponents outside of the 7 stars assembly, Su Xing did not consider this for the time being. To be more accurate, this guy and Gong Caiwei were being chummy right now, without any desire to star duel at all. 4th day at Ice Soul Valley. Su Xing's star energy began to drain at a quickening pace. This showed that after the 2nd day since Lin Yingmei entered the former volume Heavenly Book's pace, the other wives were entering their final volume Heavenly Book in succession. This is Snow Soul. It is helpful in preserving your star energy expenditure. Gong Caiwei walked over, bringing a plate of snow-white, grape-like fruit. Thanks. Su Xing ate one. His mouth turned chilly as ice. Its flesh had a creamy taste. Do you want one, too? Su Xing saw that Gong Caiwei was always watching him. He smiled and spoke. Gong Caiwei's voice clearly asked, Su Xing, you seem to be not very interested in the star duels. The atmosphere of Liangshan Continent's 1,000 years of star duels more or less would make a star master fall into the temperament of a star duel. However, Caiwei always felt that Su Xing wandered outside of the star duels. Su Xing actually had to concede that if it was not for all star generals being forced to set out for Maiden Mountain after the 3 heavenly books, Su Xing honestly considered leading his wives alone to freedom. However, this involves Yingmei and their wish to end the star duels, after all. We can only scale Maiden Mountain. I will not shirk my duty in the star duels. A wish to end the star duels. Back then, Lingfeng and wife also thought the same. In the silent snowfields, there was suddenly a serene sigh. Liked it? A kindly and handsome man and a person draped in a black cloak had walked into their field of view at some point. Ice Soul Valley's size was very wide. Even with most of Su Xing's willpower and star energy being imbued into his wife's heavenly books, this man's sudden appearance still made Su Xing feel grim. Surprisingly, no one present had detected them. Wu Xiao grabbed her twin swords and immediately stood in front of Su Xing. Su Xing patted her shoulder and walked forward. Oh, you also thought of ending the star duels? Bing Lingfeng nodded. Your servant is Su Xing. May I ask your name? Knowing they were overlords and fearing they were foes, yet hearing their wish, Su Xing still showed respect. Bing Lingfeng, and my wife, Banzhuang. Bing Lingfeng introduced himself. You scaled Maiden Mountain. Can it be this wish couldn't be achieved? It seems this wish really is fake after all. Su Xing actually was not surprised at all. Ever since the first Overlord appeared, he guessed that the end of each Overlord was apparently not very optimistic. However, because of this, he instead wanted even more to know just what the star duels were for. At least, to end the star duels, this is not something a wish can achieve. Bing Lingfeng's words were vague and without detail. But the result of the star duels wouldn't ever be to senselessly turn each of the strongest star masters into hired thugs, right? Su Xing could discern that ending the star duels was not apparently impossible. If not one wish, then what about several? Bing Lingfeng smiled. Gong Caiwei's brows tightly wrinkled as she watched this legendary overlord. Ever since the White Horse Highlands Alliance of 10 conference where the 4th overlord appeared, this matter was already the topic of conversation in Liangshan continent. Practically everyone had the mentality of enjoying news of the Purple Thunder monster's misfortune. This Purple Thunder monster had contracted so many outstanding star generals, now look, he finally suffers retribution. Even the overlords have appeared, just how long can he live? Similarly, when Gong Caiwei returned to the Extreme Ice Holy Palace, she was met with Queen Lady of Ice's kind warning to not become too close to the Purple Thunder monster. Gong Caiwei nevertheless did not think this way. On the contrary, she was even more curious about Su Xing. Other people only saw the Purple Thunder monster being confronted by the Overlords, but before the immortal hero princess saw the fourth Overlord, she wondered how Su Xing would manage. This Overlord's aura was reserved, but the moment he appeared, Gong Caiwei was unable to breathe. To see Su Xing unexpectedly chat so leisurely with the Overlord, Gong Caiwei was somewhat impressed. Su Xing indirectly acquired Maiden Mountain's information from Bing Lingfeng, but this man's responses were vague. Since he was an Overlord, Su Xing naturally knew that no matter how friendly this man appeared, he was still an enemy. Chao Gai said that after the heavenly books, 3 Overlords would team up. Why do I see only you? Are you coming one at a time? Su Xing smiled. They already died. Bing Lingfeng calmly answered. Died? Was there some internal conflict? Did you kill each other? Su Xing joked. Bing Lingfeng smiled and shook his head. Su Xing and Wu Xiao looked at each other. An ominous feeling of foreboding suddenly overcame their bodies. Su Xing instantly reacted. He flipped his hand, calling forth the birth treasure outline to prepare and see their details. Just at this moment, the silent as a flower girl suddenly blossomed in the snowstorm, drawing a graceful figure against the snow. Before Gong Caiwei could even see clearly, the opponent was already behind her, directly attacking Su Xing. Bang! A black lotus disintegrated. Wu Xiao had quickly blocked the enemy attack. A golden light flashed against the pilgrim's pupils. That light was dazzling and splendid, surprisingly blinding Wu Xiao's eyes. Wu Xiao subconsciously blinked, and the opponent once again attacked. The blade in her right hand swept directly towards Wu Xiao's neck. That chilly blade chi practically reached Wu Xiao's neck, making the pilgrim chill. Wu Xiao deflected with her swords and gracefully spun. The killing intent on her sword gathered and was immediately substantial, slashing back. That cloak was unable to hide the wonderfully figured woman's footwork, which was like a passing puff of light smoke. She surprisingly stepped into the sword's chi without fear, her high combat realm allowing her to easily avoid Wu Xiao's seemingly unavoidable killing intent. The short sword in her hand flashed with blinding golden light, like a bright moon. An instant later, Banzhuang was already to Wu Xiao's flank. Her long hair flowed. Wu Xiao displayed her martial arts instincts at their peak. She slightly sidestepped and raised her double-ended sword. Light radiated, and lotus flowers suddenly shot out, their power surging like a tide. There was a sharp decline in the enemy's loftiness, and in an instant, Banzhuang's surroundings seemed to fill with formless shackles. The woman was easygoing, her body techniques were spry, wonderful as if she was dancing, an enchanting sight. Against the rolling power of Tenli demonic lotus dragon slaying, she did not evade, was neither fast nor slow, and only used her right hand's blade to counter. Their silhouettes instantly interlocked. The wildly violent noise of the clash was endless, practically suffocating. Behind the woman, a magnificent phoenix manifested from time to time. The expression of the Wu Xiao attacking the woman was increasingly grim. She had just emerged from the former volume Heavenly Book trial, and her realm was already at Extreme Realm 9th stage. She was only one step away from True Phoenix. After the 3 Heavenly Books conclude, reaching True Phoenix would be no problem. She originally had some confidence fighting an Overlord, but even so, the martial arts of the woman in front of her still made Wu Xiao feel grave. That golden saber was somewhat familiar, very much like the golden wind that Hun Yangzi wielded. But the opponent had only one sword. Wu Xiao could not be certain. Furthermore, this weapon was extremely strong. Each clash of their weapons made Wu Xiao suffer internal injuries. On the surface, Wu Xiao and Banzhuang appeared evenly matched, but Wu Xiao was very clear that this woman was currently chipping away at her little by little. Thinking quickly, Wu Xiao also explosively revolted. She first drew back, and then she used her feint advantage from retreating to escape the woman's attack range, but Wu Xiao's attack was far from finished. In that instant she had retreated, the noble frost demonic lotus had split in two. One sword was pitch black, and the other was bright as snow. Black and white were distinct, a beautiful sight. The black and white swords were wielded in succession. Wu Xiao advanced, her speed reaching its peak. Dark technique. Blood splashing Mandarin duck. There was a clear, alarming sound of weapons clashing. At such close range, the girl surprisingly deflected two blades aimed at her neck with her one blade so easily. The girl countered, her saber chi like a crescent moon slashing at Wu Xiao's chest, knocking one of Wu Xiao's swords out of her hand. The woman's figure flickered, appearing above Wu Xiao, her next attack following suit. But as Wu Xiao flew back, she was caught by Su Xing. Su Xing was unable to utilize his flying swords, so he immediately attacked with several bolts of purple fiend. The purple fiends were like blades, spreading over the enemy's attack range. If it was anyone else receiving Su Xing's purple fiend attack, they would definitely have suffered greatly, but the woman was completely unfazed. Her jacket made a ripping sound, and that cloak over her body finally shredded, revealing the girl's complexion. Su Xing carried Wu Xiao to safety, promptly using star energy to help Wu Xiao recover her wounds. "Lord husband, you must not." Wu Xiao grabbed Su Xing, stopping his concern. The sisters still need Lord husband's star energy to pass through the heavenly books. Wu Xiao shook her head, making Su Xing look very distressed. "How can a heavenly book be more important than you?" Su Xing resolutely said, using his star energy to heal that wound on Wu Xiao's chest. Ah! At this moment, Gong Caiwei, Shi Yuan, and Tang Lianxin's gasps filled the air. Su Xing thought the opponent was causing trouble. He hastily raised his head to look at the enemy and was suddenly stunned by the scene in front of him. He could not help but gasp. The girl that appeared from underneath the cloak was truly beautiful. Her clothes were spotlessly white, and her waist was bound by a white belt as well, outlining her graceful figure. That full chest highlighted her curves. Her slender legs under her white silk skirt and her supple but were the epitome of extraordinary beauty. The woman's hair was tied in a bun, she had no makeup, her brow was like a spring mountain, her eyes like limpid autumn waters. She was clearly beautiful yet also refined as an immortal, undoubtedly cool yet also aloof. She was a beauty that outshone the world. She could be described by a poem. An immortal of water with heaven and wonder, cold fragrance solitude moves ice. Who now has an immortal wind Dao bone, sweeping faintly away a beautiful woman. Su Xing had seen many beautiful women, and his wives were no exception. Each of them were beauties that could overthrow a country, especially the ninth Hunyangzi, who was known as the most beautiful star maiden. Su Xing thought he was already to beauty, but upon seeing the woman in front of him, he still could not help but be astounded. If it must be said how astonished Su Xing was. Then only 4 words could describe her. A true femme fatale. Even if he did not use the birth treasure outline. The girl's identity was obvious. "You are the 7th bright star 10 feet of blue Banzhuang." Wu Xiao was not surprised at all. When she saw Su Xing she contrarily stuck out her chest in jealousy, wrinkling her brow. To be honest, Wu Xiao's demonic lotus elegance did not lose out to Banzhuang, but every gesture of Banzhuang's perfectly embodied beauty, the display of which made Su Xing unable to help but breathe at first sight. Banzhuang gently landed. Her right hand gripped golden wind. A galaxy surrounded it, but they could vaguely make out 7 swirling stars. This is that beauty that ruins a country and ambition that ruins a kingdom, the 7th Overlord, Banzhuang. Gong Caiwei also took a breath. She had already heard of this woman's repute who once turned over Liangshan continent. Seeing her today, she lived up to her name, as expected. Wasn't the 7th star Sanyang the 6th generations? Su Xing returned to his senses, calming down. The 7th generations. The 7th 7-star Sanyang is very famous. Gong Caiwei remembered very clearly. That Hu Sanyang could be said to be a person who conquered the star duels with a superior star weapon. Her most famous battle was that before the third phase, she and her star master worked together to kill the chief of martial force, strength star Jade Qilin Lu Jiyue. Come to think of it, this man was Hu Banzhuang's star master. Gong Caiwei looked to Bing Lingfeng. Although she was elegant, under Hu Banzhuang's beauty, she paled in comparison, turning into someone to be ignored. Bing Lingfeng up until now did not take action, but he gazed at Hu Banzhuang in silence. Today's trial, if you can last for 10 bouts with Banzhuang, you will be considered to have passed. Hu Banzhuang spoke, her voice pleasant. Only 10 bouts? Wu Xiao sneered. The pilgrim unavoidably had not been placed in her gaze. Even when Hu Banzhuang brought out her top-notch true phoenix realm, if she used do not laugh laying drunk on battlefield, Wu Xiao was confident she could be a match. Not you. Instead, Hu Banzhuang pointed a white finger at Su Xing and gave a smile that could overthrow a country. But you liked it? Your lord husband. Hu Banzhuang pointed at Su Xing and answered Wu Xiao. Wu Xiao sneered. She gripped Noble Frost Demonic Lotus, launching an attack without saying a word. She had just faced Hu Banzhuang and naturally knew this woman's martial arts were very exceptional. It was not that Wu Xiao did not have faith in Su Xing, rather, the 7-star destined weapon and true phoenix realm honestly made Wu Xiao unable to bet on whether this woman would be kind. One blade. Hu Banzhuang stopped Wu Xiao's attack with one blade. The gorgeous woman slightly smiled. You and him call each other husband and wife, but I wonder if he helped preserve your star nest or not. Otherwise, you will regret it. What? Killing intent flowed. Hu Banzhuang instantly appeared behind Wu Xiao. Her blade descended, cutting into Wu Xiao's back. When Hu Banzhuang's other sword attacked, a swift saber light cut through the air directly towards Hu Banzhuang. Hu Banzhuang's footwork flickered. She disappeared from under Su Xing's sword. Su Xing recognized that this was the bright star's light smoke dance steps. The country-toppling woman did not pursue. She only retreated several steps and stood, calm as a lake without ripples. What powerful martial arts! Su Xing wrinkled his brow and pulled Wu Xiao in. Although they did not face each other directly, Su Xing had gone through the tempering of so many star generals and himself already had the senses of a heavenly star martial general. With just a look, he understood this Hu Banzhuang was extraordinarily strong. Accordingly, after the 3 heavenly books was a star duel. Even with the heavenly books, this woman's realm was too high. This made Su Xing somewhat depressed. How could he have known that other than killing Lu Jiyue in her most famous battle, she also killed another of the best martial generals? That was that generation's skillful star wanderer Yan Guiying who followed that generation's Lu Junyi as a servant. After killing these 2 heavenly stars, Hu Banzhuang's martial arts had stepped into a realm of unstoppable speed. Star generals needed to wield their martial arts in the strongest, best way possible to kill powerful star generals. By doing so, not only could they inherit star energy, they could also increase their realm. Although sparring was one way that Su Xing's wives used, it was nevertheless much, much slower. As a result, the difference between their realms was enormous. Lord husband, you must not fight her alone. Wu Xiao clenched her fist tightly. Xiao, believe in me. Su Xing shook his head. Although a clash with Hu Banzhuang would indeed be perilous, there was already no way to retreat now. For the sake of allowing the others to safely comprehend their heavenly books, Su Xing had to accept this. Of course, Su Xing felt this Hu Banzhuang should have some sort of intention using this style of trial for him. It was not as if he should not give this a try. A manly spirit, as you should. Hu Banzhuang smiled and nodded. Lianxin, you honor, help look after Xiao for me. Elder brother, Su Xing, be careful. Can this princess also experience this? Gong Caiwei rose. Her clothes were whiter than snow. She raised her hand, and the tracing snow sword appeared. She practiced the sword from since she was little. When she first met Su Xing, she astounded him. As you wish. A very beautiful smile appeared on Hu Banzhuang's lips. It was difficult to see through her mind, to see just what she was thinking. Su Xing murmured, Caiwei, there is completely no need to worry about me. I am not worried about you. I merely do not wish to keep losing to you. Gong Caiwei's sword was chilling, its cold chi frigid. Su Xing took a deep breath. Never imagined that other than becoming a husband to a star general, even other star masters could fall in love with you. Hu Banzhuang said matter-of-factly. Gong Caiwei blushed, what nonsense are you spouting? Watch this, sword wind gathers frost. Tracing snow released a cold light. This sword was imbued with the spirit of the blooming water dragon. Blooming water divine thunder crackled around the sword's tip, and a dragon growled, quite extraordinary. Hu Banzhuang stepped forward and vanished. Gong Caiwei was shocked. The bright star's left palm struck her, sending her flying away. At this time, Su Xing also launched a fierce assault, bringing down Sparrow Drink's winter spring. Cold chi poured into the air. Hu Banzhuang's eyes glinted. She spun her sword, golden light broke, and her powerful 7-star destined weapon brushed Su Xing aside. Second. Hu Banzhuang grinned. In this instant, the air seemed to cease its flow. The country overthrowing beauty already vanished from his field of view. Lord husband, be careful. Wu Xiao broke into a cold sweat. Su Xing also had first-rate battle sense. Lin Yingmei's battle doctrine innate talent sharply manifested. The blade in his left hand descended, the power of the 5-star destined weapon not diminished in the slightest. Third. A delicate warning came through the air. Shit. The sound came from Su Xing's left, but the dragon sparrow Du-Long saber nevertheless slashed towards his right. An attack stuck directly into his body. Fortunately, Su Xing had the foresight to first wear the yellow gown of coronation. But Hu Banzhuang's attack was honestly violent, surprisingly nearly destroying the 9-clawed true dragon from the robe. Su Xing promptly attacked with Purple Fiend. Only then was Hu Banzhuang repelled. The woman's graceful figure stood straight. Her gaze was neatly fixed on Su Xing, 3 bouts. Not bad. No wonder Chao Gai values you. The battle doctrine innate skill is very formidable as expected. In actuality, although Hu Banzhuang had yet to use her full power, her realm was at least true Phoenix 3 stage. An ordinary cultivator without a star general could only die, but this man's reactions were quite good. He appeared to be rather interesting. It's all thanks to love. Su Xing shouted. The 4th bout was clothes full of flower fragrance. This scent wafted, and flower petals appeared around Hu Banzhuang. Even Hu Banzhuang could not underestimate the 5-star destined weapon's earth rank. Hu Banzhuang's eyes glinted. She finally drew her right hand's jade dew. Golden wind and jade dew interlocked. Magnificent saber light split left and right. The woman displayed wonderful body techniques. The double sabers locked and spun. The saber light of clothes full of flower fragrance exploded all over Hu Banzhuang's body. Su Xing raised and swung the saber down. 5th. Boom. The world split. Su Xing looked. Hu Banzhuang's double sabers already caught the dragon sparrow Du-Long saber. Not good. Bright star 10 feet of blue revealed an absolutely beautiful and captivating deadly smile. Following this smile was a powerful attack. Lightning quick, Su Xing consecutively struck with Purple Fiend and Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder. Hey! Bright star Hu Banzhuang shouted, her figure flashing away. Bang! Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder and Purple Fiend were cut down. 2 lines of gold and green split from this. After Su Xing used the earth rank, the dragon sparrow Du-Long saber also faded. He flew up, his fingers snapping, launching purple fiends like a rain of bullets, but Hu Banzhuang was indeed very strong. That static flow of air suddenly sprung to life after she took action. The gold and jade saber lights rolled all of the purple fiends into them. Then, faint golden light shone. It plunged straight for his chest. Su Xing was astonished. The yellow gown of coronation tore, the killing intent directly entering his body and nearly tearing his organs apart. Hu Banzhuang simultaneously already appeared next to him, her merciless voice suddenly echoing. 7th. This attack, with its surging murderous aura, splashed like rain, bursting forth in a line wrapped in ice-cold straight towards Su Xing, without any sign of resistance. Su Xing spat a mouthful of essence blood, forming the blaze-refining Nine Hells saber. Red-haired devil Lu Qing'er's star weapon howled like a ghost of fire. Although it was a weak 1-star, this was still the weapon of a heavenly star. The blade descended, warding off Hu Banzhuang's most deadly strike. But this overlord's attack was nevertheless not so simple. Su Xing's expression changed. That killing intent that was as thin as autumn rain scuttled towards his body. Each ray was an ice-cold sword. If they all shot into his chest, he would inevitably turn into honeycomb. Su Xing blossomed the meditative mind lotus flower to block the remaining force. The lotus flower bloomed, radiating golden light. Hu Banzhuang was also taken aback, but her attack did not falter at all. 10 feet of blue bared her fangs. The 8th attack was already coming. This attack was like a northern wind, her killing intent sinking into bone. 9 consecutive hellfire demonic slash. Su Xing swung the sword. The air was ripped apart by scorching flames. There was a rumble. The demonic fire on the blaze-refining Nine Hells saber roared to its content, like a horde of evil spirits unleashed, malevolently pouncing. Wave after wave of demonic fire rushed forth like a torrential downpour, endless, bowling over Banzhuang. The 9 consecutive hellfire demonic slash appeared fierce, but it posed no threat at all to Hu Banzhuang. The girl merely urged on her true phoenix realm. A phoenix manifested and easily dominated the demonic fire. Thus, the 9th attack came. Su Xing had practically exhausted all of his tricks. To keep up with the strongest overlord's reactions, he had never performed so perfectly, but in the end, he was still a step behind. But Su Xing's tricks were numerous enough that Hu Banzhuang was unable to anticipate them. He opened his mouth and spat out instant frost flame. The icy fire froze the air and all of her killing intent. Even Hu Banzhuang's 7-star destined weapon slowed for a second. It was during this opportunity that Su Xing used the Bagua escape technique and retreated. Although he avoided Hu Banzhuang's attack, the woman raised an endless killing intent that still battered Su Xing. In an instant, Su Xing had surprisingly lasted 9 bouts under Hu Banzhuang's double sabers. The girls to the side were dumbstruck. Gong Caiwei stared at Su Xing, wondering just where this man drew his strength from. She had specially sought out Hu Banzhuang for a spar, but from just a single blow, she knew defeat. Bing Lingfeng also said in admiration, "Your distinguished self is truly formidable. No wonder the prior overlords have all fallen. If you had been in the 7th star duels, wife and I could not possibly have become the overlord. Elder brother can win." Tang Lianxin clutched the edges of her clothes. She underestimated Su Xing. Shi Yuan finally breathed a sigh of relief and cheered him on. Wu Xiao's brow was not so relaxed. Instead, it grew even more grave. From a moment ago up until now, Bright Star Hu Banzhuang had not used any of her heaven, earth, dark, or yellow techniques. Su Xing's current situation was far from safe. This is the last bout. If you can survive, Banzhuang shall grant you 100 bouts of instruction. Hu Banzhuang spread her hands. No need, my wives won't lose out to you. Su Xing had no interest in fighting this abnormal woman. Hu Banzhuang smiled, the last bout is, what Wu Xiao worried about the most had come to pass. Before Hu Banzhuang even finished speaking, she was already before Su Xing's eyes in an instant, and Su Xing even did not finish listening to her. This woman's speed surpassed this thought process. Hu Banzhuang had closed the distance in the blink of an eye. Those clear and limpid pupils containing passion locked with Su Xing's. In this instant, Su Xing only felt that his consciousness had fallen into the deadly gaze of this woman's emotions. The double sabers swung down. Banzhuang's passion transmission. Yellow rank. Passion transmission. Liked it? Lin Yingmei, inside her heavenly book dream. On a dark, starless and moonless night, wind and snow intersected. Below a mountain temple. A girl dressed in black currently sat on the terrace in front of the temple, one hand holding a staff while drinking wine with the other. The girl's brows were like a book, beautiful as a flower. Dim moonlight occasionally peeked out from black clouds. The girl's dark eyes were very dazzling, like black gemstones, bright and resplendent. She gazed at the black uniformed army below the mountain and shook her head in silence. At the bottom of the mountain was a massive army. The hooves of horses thundered, banners flapped, and the cavalry charged forth. War cries clamored in succession. Great swords and pikes wielded cold killing intent. Countless arrows whistled through the air. All of this was but to take down a single girl. Lin Yingmei, you are very bold, to not obediently wait to be captured. You're unexpectedly dared to rebel. Cavalry, infantry, each and every kind of demon swept towards her. The girl's body was agile as a sparrow. Her Arctic star serpent spear fluttered about, the spear jumping from armor to armor, punching straight through. Ha, ha, so what about it? Lin Yingmei smiled, sweeping out a blizzard. The weapons and armor within a range of 100 meters were ruined. You still will not come with me, Lord Lu Qian. A high-cheek-boned man shouted. Please step forward, sir. Lin Yingmei laughed. She suddenly put strength to her feet, leaping like a panther to a soldier's flank. The instant the soldier raised his saber, she stabbed into his chest, and the spear connected to his neck, mercilessly flinging him away. The enormous strength sent the soldier's more than 100-kilogram body flying away like a cannonball, shooting in a straight line. A din came from the crowd where the person landed. The other soldiers seemed not to have noticed. Everyone was charging towards Lin Yingmei. Lin Yingmei instantly killed another 100 soldiers. She had only one target, Lu Qian. Ever since she entered the heavenly book dream, she did not know why after she spent several days training, a man calling himself Lu Qian and another called Fuan suddenly jumped out and accused her of plotting a rebellion, that they were investigating her. Lin Yingmei did not abide their impudence at all. As a result, she fought her way to the bottom of the mountain temple. The Arctic star serpent spear's cold wind pierced through, each technique overlaid with a blizzard, surprisingly covering the entire mountain in ice and snow. Countless glinting swords whooshed at once. Nevertheless, Lin Yingmei sneered. These soldiers wielded their weapons with great skill, their movements careful and fierce. It was very difficult to imagine from their crude appearances that they would brandish attacks so fine and full of danger. Everything was thanks to the army's drill master. Powerful pressure burst forth from their swords, cutting the air with endless crackling sounds, showing the extraordinary strength of these soldiers. Lin Yingmei's body seemed to become weightless. She floated past these soldiers' encirclement. No matter how densely packed their attacks, she always found a gap in the attacks. She evaded timely, those body techniques swifter than the wind. But swiftness clearly was not the result Lin Yingmei wanted to pursue. As the Imperial Army's name implied, to truly end everything, there was only one way. Kill. Another long blizzard nights instantly killed tens of thousands of soldiers. That previously arrogant Lu Qian was dejected, turning and fleeing. Why are you running, sir? Listen to Yingmei's words, you had better take a walk with that Lord Fuan. Lin Yingmei's eyes flashed a cold light. She jeered. The girl was somewhat disdainful of these trained Imperial guards. Endless killing intent suddenly threaded through the air. All of the Imperial guards that came to protect Lu Qian were suddenly cut down all at once, but they were extremely very well trained. Immediately gripping their weapons, they all acted together, forming a battle formation. Although they were weak, together they surprisingly had a frightening aggression. The weapons in their hands tore the air apart. These fearless Imperial guards were already charging. Although their charge was not as sharp as cavalry's, combined with their frightening power, their charge was just as pressuring. Lin Yingmei disdainfully scoffed and swung her spear. All of their power crumbled away in an instant. A blizzard stopped their flow. The Imperial Guards that lost the support of their charge were a bit flustered, but immediately, something even more terrifying followed up. The girl's eyes flashed chillingly. She swung her spear, and powerful killing intent rushed out. The blizzard that had disappeared then suddenly flared. A storm unexpectedly sprung from the weapon in her hand. The charging soldiers were instantly devoured. Lin Yingmei leapt into the sky, her speed extremely quick, killing her way towards Lu Qian. Lu Qian looked back and was terrified. "Drill Master, save me." He hastened his pace. This man's martial arts were not bad. At least in the Heavenly Book Dream, his were a level higher than Lin Yingmei's, but Lin Yingmei had the battle doctrine innate skill. The more deadlocked the battle, the stronger her martial arts became. Lu Qian simply stood no chance. A phoenix melted the snow. Vapor shot up. Lu Qian suddenly revolted in indignation. With a roar, the muscles over his whole body instantly bulged and swelled. Thick blood vessels could be clearly seen on the surface of his skin. His bare flesh showed a blood-red hue, with his veins bulging. The enormous contours of his muscles seemed alive. They warped on his body like hills, appearing very frightful. A great sword in his hand swung down with the power of Mount Tai. Lin Yingmei deftly yielded, evading this slash. Landing behind him, when Lu Qian turned around, an ice-cold spear had already stabbed through his chest, digging out his burning and still beating heart right out. Lu Qian's face paled as he looked at Lin Yingmei's chilling and disdainful eyes. The panther head pulled out her spear, and blood gushed. After Lu Qian died, the remaining Imperial Guards immediately panicked, no longer daring to launch any attacks against Lin Yingmei. They gazed at her with expressions of fear. Lin Yingmei held her spear, blood dripping onto the ground, blossoming like a red flower. The girl walked up towards the mountain temple, the Imperial Guards along the way yielding. Lin Yingmei felt her forehead burn. She sensed that Su Xing had apparently met with trouble. The girl somewhat increased her speed in worry. "Young master is still waiting for your servant to return. Let us quickly settle everything." Lin Yingmei stepped before the temple, gazing at her opponent for the former volume Heavenly Book's final challenge, but this time, the panther head's eyes did not have her previous contempt. Instead, they became very deferential. Lin Yingmei nodded. A phoenix appeared behind her. True Phoenix Realm. That drinking woman in black rose up and gripped her staff. An uninhibited smile. "I, Wang Jin, have waited for you a long time, Yingmei. Now begins the lesson." Ice Soul Valley, Day 6. Night fell, and the moon was like frigid water. "Ow, ow, ow, ow." Su Xing grimaced. Wu Xiao unhappily applied medicine for Su Xing all over his body, making his whole body hurt. Originally, he thought he had trained the chaotic tail escape to its highest 49th layer and was used to pain, but he never thought that woman's killing intent would be incomparably fierce. Now he felt unbearable. "Elder sister, maybe you should be gentler. That Overlord's true Phoenix Realm attack won't be so easy to heal." Shi Yuan was distressed. Gong Caiwei seemingly smiled as she looked at Su Xing. In the end, it seems Su Xing was captivated. "Otherwise, you would not be looking so sorry." These words made Su Xing very embarrassed. Wu Xiao applied even more force to her handiwork. During the 10th bout, 10 feet of blue Hu Banzhuang finally used her yellow rank technique. Although it could be said that this was merely a very simple and average yellow rank technique, that was the yellow technique of a 7-star destined weapon. At his current stage, he was only a little off from a Star General's Earth rank. However, her attacks honestly did not hold back in the slightest. Recalling that attack, the girl's face was practically stuck against his own. Their eyes locked, and in that instant, Su Xing indeed had been captivated. From an outsider's perspective, they did not seem like enemies, more like lovers. Passion transmission. The name of the bright star's yellow rank. Su Xing recalled that Nyangzi's yellow rank was hate transmission, yet hers was passion transmission. Although they were both bright stars, they were complete opposites. Still, Nyangzi's hate transmission was better. To have his wife cut another person down with feelings of passion, he could not bear to watch. Truly worthy of the star general that overturned the 7th star duels. Many would be willing to die under passion transmission. Gong Caiwei said nonchalantly. Su Xing hurriedly made his position clear. He had no interest at all in being the romantic under Hu Banzhuang's blade. Su Xing looked at the tattered yellow gown of coronation. He thought to himself that he had not used it for that long for it to be broken so quickly by Hu Banzhuang. Leave the robe with Lianxin to fix. Tang Lianxin gently said. Su Xing nodded gratefully. However, her beauty is indeed very alluring. 'Tis reasonable for Lord Husband to be swayed, but please be careful. Wu Xiao pursed her lips. When Su Xing saw Xiao's adorable jealous expression, he was delighted. Wifey, kiss me. He allowed no room for talk as he embraced Wu Xiao and kissed the woman's jealous lips. Wu Xiao slightly resisted then yielded to him. On the contrary, in front of that most beautiful star general, this satisfied her. After the kiss ended, Wu Xiao's cheeks blushed, as if she was slightly drunk. Gong Caiwei turned her gaze and saw far away Hu Banzhuang and Bing Lingfeng stoking a fire. Su Xing had survived Hu Banzhuang's 10 bouts trial, but the woman had not left at all. Instead, she tended to a fire, sitting nearby as she gazed curiously at Su Xing. At this time, Su Xing saw Hu Banzhuang. The girl's clear pupils blinked, as if she was recalling something. Bing Lingfeng at this time was idly toying with the firewood. He said, Wife, what do you feel is this Su Xing's background? I heard he has no sect. The star duels are a curious thing, for him to surprisingly have a female star master on his side. Bing Lingfeng glanced at Gong Caiwei. This girl was beautiful as ice, completely flawless, not losing out to a star general. She appeared to be quite intelligent, not the sort who would be so stupid as to collaborate with the star duel's greatest enemy. It was known, even in the 7th star duels, that oftentimes, the most menacing enemy was the first to be dealt with. So as to end this surprise, Bing Lingfeng and Hu Sanyang, they first exploited the opportunity of passing through the double sevens to preemptively kill other star generals that posed threats. At least everyone who placed emphasis on the 3 heavenly books contrarily did not mind too much, but by the time of the 7 stars assembly, when they saw the other star masters, well, they were all useless. However, he is able to sway the hearts of star generals like Wu Song and Lin Chong, to be husband and wife with them. Fortunately, he was not around during our time. Otherwise, Lingfeng fears he truly would have stolen you away. Bing Lingfeng said in self-mockery. Hu Banzhuang grunted. She suddenly rose and walked towards Su Xing like it. Su Xing was currently flirting with Wu Xiao as they waited for the others. There was no sign at all of the previously mortal conflict with Hu Banzhuang just a moment before. This made Gong Caiwei very speechless. However, Su Xing felt that he had reaped great benefits from being able to personally battle an overlord. Even if he lost in an unsightly way, he would not have minded. Neither did he lose anyways, so he naturally was very relaxed. Su Xing's star energy was still continuously being transmitted to everyone comprehending their heavenly books, however, the consumptions was too great. He was left with no choice but to rely on medicines to persist. Fortunately, Tang Tang already saved 3 bottles of Jade Lake Moon Dew, enough to let Su Xing last. If Sister Nyangzi and this Banzhuang fought, this young lady wonders which is stronger. Shi Yuan began to imagine such a scene. The most beautiful star generals in a showdown. That would definitely be very pretty, earth-shattering, especially when this Hu Banzhuang was Hu Nyangzi's predecessor. Su Xing said they were better off waiting for Nyangzi to comprehend her heavenly book and not lose before anything else. They would work together, HM. But her star master Bing Lingfeng is very odd. Wu Xiao spoke. The pilgrim was not like the thief star who would make light of the situation anytime or anywhere. After Hu Banzhuang came, Wu Xiao was always pondering this problem. She did not dare overlook Hu Banzhuang's star master. Gong Caiwei also said that he was a bit similar to Su Xing. Both were able to become husband and wife with a star general, particularly that this man surprisingly wed the 7th generation's most beautiful star general. However, what Wu Xiao was concerned about was not this, but that this man had up until now taken no action at all. When Hu Banzhuang and Su Xing dueled, he merely watched. Although he had supervoid peak cultivation, he honestly was too peaceful. Just as she thought this, that person, Hu Banzhuang, rose and walked daintily over. The girl's every step was beautiful, like a lotus flower. Seeing her approach, everyone who had been relaxing immediately put up their guard. After 10 bouts, don't you say that didn't count? Shi Yuan shouted. The corner of Hu Banzhuang's mouth seemed to always hang that distant yet near beautiful smile. Today's trial is concluded. Banzhuang has merely come to inform you of tomorrow's trial. What, tomorrow's trial? Su Xing was stunned. You are so shameless. When Shi Yuan thought about it, this woman had originally actually said something about this. Hu Banzhuang was not angered. She merely smiled and gazed at Su Xing, as if she knew what Su Xing was planning. Although Su Xing very much wanted to echo Shi Yuan and say this beauty was too shameless, he still nodded. The other person's martial force was very exceptional. If she pressed him, what could he do? In any case, Su Xing felt that he was perhaps being fancied by the woman, turning into something to toy with. Su Xing said, I'll endure. Wait until Lin Yingmei and the others comprehend their heavenly books and then strategize. Tomorrow's trial. 30 bouts. Hu Banzhuang said. 30 bouts? Su Xing sneered, will there be an earth technique? Too soon for earth rank. Hu Banzhuang smiled. Just the dark technique. Su Xing wanted to vomit blood. This woman was actually doing this on purpose. He must have been depressed for too long, otherwise, he could not think of how this beautiful bright star Hu Banzhuang could create such a preposterous trial. Hu Banzhuang saw through Su Xing's gloomy thoughts. The woman merely kept her same smile, turning and leaving without another word. For today's disgrace, your concubine will definitely pay her back with interest. Wu Xiao tightly clenched her fists. Su Xing smiled. He gently took hold of her fists. Don't be so impulsive, Xiao. In fact, to not feel like this isn't bad either. It is very rare to be able to trade blows with an overlord, especially when afterward, she'll teach you for 100 bouts. The so-called 100 bouts was that after Su Xing passed 10 bouts, then the next time Su Xing traded blows with Hu Banzhuang, it would be without hostility. This would purely be a tutorial on technique. Su Xing actually felt this was quite beneficial. Hu Banzhuang practically killed all of the 7th generation's greatest martial generals all on her own. Her teachings will indeed be very helpful. This princess also feels there will be great progress. Su Xing agreed. This woman's identity aside, the instruction of an overlord star general would be much faster than normal, but Su Xing was accustomed to sparring with his wives. To spar with this Banzhuang, there would be some urge to treat her as one of his wives. This made Su Xing quite depressed. Wu Xiao's brow wrinkled, still not too relieved. Gong Caiwei was pensive. Su Xing, do you not feel this Hu Banzhuang is actually helping improve your martial arts? Improve my martial arts? Su Xing chuckled. This indeed seemed to be the case, but he and Hu Banzhuang were very well trained. To give someone else instruction from Maiden Mountain, why help him? Can it be that she fell in love with Su Xing at first sight? Shi Yuan giggled. Wu Xiao smiled, but she did not take this seriously. Gong Caiwei watched Su Xing think to himself. Perhaps this really was the case. Never mind about her for now. In short, I'll deal with tomorrow's trial carefully. Su Xing said. It would be best to first have Lord Husband recover from your wounds right now. Su Shio smiled and applied medicine. Caiwei, you come help your concubine. Wifey, it hurts. Shi Yuan and Tang Lianxin stared at each other. The thief star sighed at this moment. This young lady wonders how elder sisters have progressed in their heavenly books. Elder sister Nyangzi, please come out quickly. Otherwise, Su Xing will be snatched away by that woman. At this moment, Bright Star Hu Nyangzi had entered the trial of the former volume heavenly book. The woman in front of Hu Nyangzi's face was tall in stature. Half of her body was clad in a black skin-tight jumpsuit etched with a dragon pattern. The girl wore an eye patch. Her whole body was not lacking. Under the contrast of her black leather clothes and pants, the woman's snow-white skin was extremely pale. Hu Nyangzi, why do you want to leave? Stay here with Tingyu, is that not even better? That black-haired woman spoke, a white iron staff in her hand. Hu Nyangzi did not utter a word. She held her 6-star double sabers like a whirlwind, flying quickly past the 3 zhang distance between them. Just as she was about to reach Luan Tingyu, she whirled around, wielding a light in one hand, rolling forth intense killing intent. Amidst the tornadoes filling the sky, Hu Nyangzi's figure charged towards Luan Tingyu, bringing a fierce whirlwind, frantic as a tidal wave, just like a god of death. Luan Tingyu raised her head, her expression very apologetic. I do not know what dear husband was able to marry you. Saying this, her hand gently moved, and the iron staff suddenly thrust forward. Her right hand moved with full power while her left hand's weapon combined with powerful pressure to swing down towards Hu Nyangzi's wonderful figure that was light as smoke. Hu Nyangzi suddenly accelerated her charge, using light smoke dance steps, circling around the woman's strike. Then, her double sabers slashed to plunge the incoming attack into the ground. Groaning, she borrowed the reverse force to suddenly raise her body. Instantly, she soared over Luan Tingyu's head. The force was such that when Luan Tingyu waved her iron staff, a wave of killing intent twisted into a circle, but Hu Nyangzi's movements were like an antelope, not a trace to track. With her body in midair, Hu Nyangzi flew about like a magpie, her double sabers brandished in succession, instantly already cutting several times. Golden wind and jade dew glowed brightly. Flying star magpie dance. Several powerful masses of air shrieked towards the heavenly book trials Luan Tingyu. Despite Luan Tingyu's here already having some regrets about Hu Nyangzi, her martial arts were also very strong, far superior to Hu Sanyang's. The ordinary iron staff in her hand was far stronger than that star weapon, similarly 6-star. Regardless of martial skill or experience, she was the better, and it was a pity that these absolutely did not allow the woman to go soft. A distinctly perceptible strong killing intent approached head-on. Without lifting her head, she tossed her hair and swept her iron staff in an arc, first assuming a defense. Instantly, she protected herself, and even Hu Nyangzi was unable to attack Luan Tingyu from behind. Bang, 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 a succession of 5 clear blade clashes. A ripple appeared in the clearly visible iron staff's defenses. Powerful recoil made Hu Nyangzi's left wrist go numb, and her body trembled intensely. So strong. Hu Nyangzi's heart was astonished, not daring to underestimate this woman's martial arts. Without seeing her use any tricks or attack techniques, the woman surprisingly blocked a dark technique, even reversing their roles. This Luan Tingyu was completely not inferior to a star general, no, she should be even stronger than some martial generals. With a burst of astonishment in her heart, Hu Nyangzi's expression showed no changes at all. Those eyes laden with grief once again exploded with a chilling attack, not daring to hold back in the slightest. Tingyu shall teach you properly. Luan Tingyu indifferently talked about something insignificant. When the weapon in her hand sensed where Hu Nyangzi would attack, she suddenly turned her head, and she suddenly released an intense, vast white aura. Instantly covering a range of 5 zhang, there was only a white light. The temperature abruptly dropped to the freezing point, and it was as if she could clearly see and hear the instant the white breath condensed into ice in the air. Dark technique. Exhale. Hu Nyangzi was shocked to sense her speed immediately decelerate. Without giving Bright Star Hunyangzi any chance to react, while her body was in the air, Wantingyu's attack followed close behind. Her iron staff flipped like lightning, instantly attacking several times. Enormous gusts filled the atmosphere, and there was the clear sound of bone crumbling. Hunyangzi barely used her double sabers to block this, and her body could not be firmly controlled. Even her wonderful light smoke dance steps could barely be displayed, being suppressed by Wantingyu's powerful attack strength. Wantingyu's eyes flashed cold light. Despite Hunyangzi's hasty attack, she leaned slightly and stepped gently, putting her body already out of the way, striking overwhelmingly with the iron staff. The battle time blinked by. Wantingyu completely did not let go of any opportunities. She spun the iron staff, mercilessly flinging Hunyangzi away. The powerful force made Hunyangzi heavily tumble along the ground, sending rock and dirt flying, forming large trench. The golden wind and jade dew sabers sharply lamented. In their cries, the young woman's figure once again flew. She spun in the air, ruthlessly launching herself towards Wantingyu. Her hair fluttered, her golden eyes not conceding defeat in the slightest. Wantingyu calmly stood her place, merely sighing when she raised her head to look at the rapidly approaching beautiful figure. Concede defeat. Before she finished, the iron staff glowed with a white light, once again knocking Hunyangzi to the ground. You are no match for me, Wantingyu coldly said. Hunyangzi rose again, wiping the blood from the corner of her mouth, again. It seems you have a dear husband that is worth giving your life for. Wantingyu pondered. Hunyangzi's heaven-earth dark yellow skill made clear her answer, when golden wind embraces jade dew liked it. Ice Soul Valley, Day 5. 22nd day of the Heavenly Books. Upon the shallow lake, white stripe in the waves, Zhang Yuqi floated upon the water's surface like a leaf. The urgency's white spirit python white wave was coiled in the surroundings, cautiously guarding its mistress. Outside of the lake came the clangs of battle, crisp and clear. Each strike rippled the lake's water, making it shudder. Ice Soul Valley's snowflakes floated down onto Zhang Yuqi's white skin. The girl's supple paleness was comparable to this snow. Not long after, Zhang Yuqi slowly opened her eyes, awakening from her 3 heavenly books dream. AI, how did I lose? Zhang Yuqi gloomily muttered. In the former volume Heavenly Book Trial, she encountered a lake-shaking dragon god. It spoke of her life experiences, making her go capture a 7-colored carps. As far as the white stripe in the waves was concerned, she was quick on the water. In the water, she could move as easily as walking on the ground. Capturing the 7 differently colored fishes was simply a walk in the park. The Zhang Yuqi who had been genuinely expecting to be the first to rise above the others from the former volume Heavenly Books and surprise Su Xing nevertheless met with the Heavenly Books trial cannot be possibly be this easy, trial. The 7 colored carps were located in Queen Mother of the West's lake. Each of the carp were different, and the timing to catch them was different as well. Zhang Yuqi used 3 days to capture 5 of the colored fishes, leaving only the white and black carps. Just as she was about to catch the 6th carp, a barbarian woman named Fang Tianding commanding a fleet of ships to Queen Mother of the West's lake to hunt 7 colored carps. When the two met, that overbearing woman bellowed several times before launching an attack. Zhang Yuqi used her superb water skills to actually leave Fang Tianding's fleet in shambles, but her star energy afterwards was debilitated. Fang Tianding then used a Golden Gate bubbling water array to interrupt Zhang Yuqi's water magic. The result was that Zhang Yuqi was gloomily skewered through the heart by 10,000 arrows, waking her from the dream. Seeing only 2 heavenly books, Zhang Yuqi furiously ground her teeth. Damned Fang Tianding, I will haunt you even in death. Just as she thought this, a splash occurred on the lake's surface. Zhang Yuqi watched curiously. From there, she came to shore, walked out of the forest and arrived 100 meters away from the array Su Xing as in. Upon the snowy ground, 2 figures crisscrossed. One of them was Su Xing. His hand gripped the 7 colors goosefeather saber, fighting with his utmost, deeply impressionable. And his opponent was a young woman, but her speed was very fast. Her body techniques were like light smoke, mysterious and profound. Zhang Yuqi felt that figure was beautiful as the moon, like a shining sun. Little sister Nyangzi awoke from her heavenly books so quickly. Could it be that she obtained her former volume? Zhang Yuqi often saw Su Xing spar with Lin Yingmei and the others. She thought that Su Xing had already begun again. Elder sister, you have awakened. Did you obtain your heavenly books? Tang Lianxin asked. Zhang Yuqi shook her head. She looked in Su Xing's direction again and noticed that Hu Nyangzi was still in her dream. The damaged star said in astonishment, which sister has our young Su seduced to flirt here? Shi Yuan guffawed. She said, Zhang Yuqi, you're too naughty. To make this elder sister give a blowjob will only harm Su Xing. Do you mean the loser of this battle will have to blow? Zhang Yuqi laughed. Wu Xiao could not listen to these two make light of the seventh overlord like this. She chided them, that is the seventh generation's overlord, bright star 10 feet of blue Hu Banzhuang. She is giving Lord Husband a trial. An overlord. Zhang Yuqi's smile vanished, as expected. She gazed at Xiao in even greater confusion. Wu Xiao knew that Zhang Yuqi was currently wondering why she was not intervening, so she explained things. After listening, Zhang Yuqi's palms were covered in cold sweat. Her man was too insane to surprisingly trade blows with an overlord. Their weapons continued to clash, stirring a spectacle of weapons. Su Xing drew back several steps, having been cut several times by Hu Banzhuang. That royal robe upon him had already lost its original kingly aura. It was practically scraps in front of the 7-star golden wind and jade dew. The 9-clawed true dragon was already howling in grief, fading under Hu Banzhuang's fierce assault. The 15th. Saber light fell, and Hu Banzhuang stepped backwards while grinning slightly. Su Xing panted in exhaustion like an ox. Not a single spot of his body's skin was left untouched. After 15 bouts, Hu Banzhuang had already broke every one of his tricks. In the end, he could only bring out the 7 colors goose feather saber. Hu Banzhuang looked at that eye-catching blade. Although it was only 2-star, it retained great power. For a star master to use a defeated star general's star master was very taxing on star energy. Hu Banzhuang could see that Su Xing was currently already very overwhelmed, especially while he still was using star energy to sustain the other wives. On this exchange, will you die? Hu Banzhuang asked while she smiled. The answer was on her blade. Green light flashed, and her dance steps rose. Without any warning, the bright star launched her assault. Blossoming saber chi flew directly towards Su Xing. Its speed was swift enough that it was untouched by even a single snowflake, but Su Xing was similarly swift beyond reason. When Hu Banzhuang charged through the curtain of snowflakes, Su Xing was prepared for her with full-power saber technique. The weapon's killing intent was like a ferocious beast baring its fangs, wildly pouncing towards Hu Banzhuang. This killing intent seemed conscious. It glared at Hu Banzhuang and chased after the woman. In the howling wind, Hu Banzhuang's figure instantly crossed the distance between herself and Su Xing. Because of her excessively swift speed, she left a trail of afterimages, and a bright true phoenix spread its wings. In the midst of her light smoke dance steps, Su Xing's attack missed. Hu Banzhuang already directed a whistling attack towards Su Xing's head. Su Xing appeared considerably astounded. Although he was already accustomed to battling with Hu Banzhuang, each time, this woman always could instantly close the distance, bringing him endless pressure. The meditative mind lotus flower already was somewhat wilted in its bloom. Su Xing used the Akala Wisdom King Truth Body. A blade slashed from his left. His divine intent moved, and Purple Fiend rolled towards Hu Banzhuang. Hu Banzhuang was faster than her weapon's attack speed. Saber light shot out in that instant, and she already launched another attack towards Su Xing. Purple Fiend was broken. Hu Banzhuang smiled. She did not slow but became even faster, overwhelming like a storm. Her unending assault came out in full strength. Su Xing was already somewhat stifled by Hu Banzhuang's ferocious and continuous attacks. Even if he was capable of relying on his body and quick thinking to ward off these attacks using his weapon, each blow was very fierce. Hu Banzhuang's double sabers trapped his body on all sides. He was acutely aware that the young woman definitely was not limited to just this. 16th bout. 17th bout. Su Xing grit his teeth. His eyes released an ice-cold light. He swiftly drew back 5 steps, using the dark technique Wolf Howl's 10,000 li, saber chi leaked out of the blade, emerging like a ravenous wolf uncaged. An air-shattering sound grew louder, as if it formed spontaneous. Several dozen wolves charged towards Hu Banzhuang. The next instant, these wolf-killing intents gnawed at her. But, in front of everyone's shocked gazes, Hu Banzhuang's body passed through Wolf Howl's 10,000 li. She weaved in between, suddenly vanishing into the air, strange beyond compare. Then, Hu Banzhuang's beauty that could ruin a country suddenly emerged before their eyes. 19th. Hu Banzhuang's double sabers stabbed straight at Su Xing's body. The meditative mind lotus flower's petals bloomed and withered, and the Akala truth body was brandished at maximum power. Su Xing's defenses were completely breached by Hu Banzhuang's attack. The next shall be Banzhuang's dark technique. It seems you can only reach this far. The virgin fragrance of Hu Banzhuang's body entered his nose. Su Xing's consciousness immediately cleared. He gripped the 7 colors goose feather saber, gathering his killing intent onto the blade. In actuality, the Hu Banzhuang standing before him had an opening. Su Xing needed only to use the earth rank heavenly punishment earthly destruction to be able to completely repel Hu Banzhuang, to force this woman to conclude these 20 bouts. Hu Banzhuang also sensed the power of the 7 colors goose feather saber, but the girl contrarily smiled even more brightly, like a spring breeze, like a bright moon. No, that won't do. His power faded. In the end, Su Xing still gave up on the earth rank because at this time, if he actually used it, then his star energy would be completely drained, and the wives still in the heavenly book's trial would be affected and be startled awake. For their sake, Su Xing knew that he could do this, no matter what. Hu Banzhuang's brows rose. Her smile became increasingly profound, a pity. Su Xing heard the girl's gentle whisper. Hu Banzhuang prepared to draw her saber and use dark technique, together in the Drizzle, to end the greatest legend in these star duels. Su Xing's heart did not waver. He said, "Today, I'll have to do something indecent in front of wifey." Then, he urged on his magic energy, once again blooming the meditative mind lotus flower, the treasure of the Buddha kingdom. Colored glass and Bodhi filled the surroundings. Su Xing used the chaotic tail escape to pounce forward, rushing towards Hu Banzhuang's chest. Su Xing's chaotic tail escape was too fast. Hu Banzhuang did not expect this, and she had just drawn her sabers and was in the middle of charging her dark rank when she suddenly felt someone bump into her chest. The girl's expression was shocked. Su Xing was already charging down her body. He clamped his arms like a vice grip around the 7th generation's most beautiful woman in a tight embrace and nipped the girl's neck. Hu Banzhuang cherished her purity. Even when she called Bing Lingfeng her husband, she had never allowed a man to touch even one of her fingers. As the most beautiful star general, Hu Banzhuang had the pride of the most beautiful star general, but she never imagined that 100 years of purity would unexpectedly be destroyed in this way. This man surprisingly dove shamelessly into her body. Her perfectly round breasts were squashed flat by his wide chest. Hu Banzhuang felt unable to breathe, and she faltered. Practically without thinking, Hu Banzhuang finally unleashed True Phoenix 7th stage power. The True Phoenix blew Su Xing away, nearly making his whole body fall apart. Then in the next second, she slashed. However, this attack of pure fury merely broke Su Xing's 7 colors goose feather saber. But Hu Banzhuang's next attack was prepared to activate together in the Drizzle. She was prepared to wipe this man clean away when a figure quickly passed by and immediately saved Su Xing. "Hey, why aren't you keeping your promise?" That was the 20th bout just now. Shi Yuan used her earth rank up heaven down hell to rescue Su Xing. Seeing that Hu Banzhuang was about to pursue, she shouted. "Wu Xiao, Gong Caiwei, and the others stood in Hu Banzhuang's way. Hu Banzhuang was taken aback, finally realized she had been tricked. This man surprisingly used such a frivolous method to make her last attack an ordinary one. Otherwise, Su Xing definitely would have nearly been killed by her dark technique. Hu Banzhuang calmed down very quickly. A slight grin was still upon her lips. Since you like Banzhuang so much, Su Xing, for tomorrow's trial, you shall spend 3 together in the drizzle with Banzhuang. Beauty, can't you be more gentle? Su Xing perspired profusely. Liked it? Outside the bonfire, an ice-cold gaze was currently staring at Su Xing. Bing Lingfeng's brow was deeply wrinkled. Lord husband. Hu Banzhuang warmly said. Under the bonfire, the girl's face was a bright red, unclear whether it was because of the fire or some other reason. Wife is all right. Bing Lingfeng said. What is Lord husband worried about? Hu Banzhuang smiled and asked. This man is very cunning. Lord husband fears wife was careless for a moment. Has Banzhuang ever been careless? Lord husband, you are being oversensitive. But this Su Xing is indeed as Chao said. He is different from the star masters we know. Hu Banzhuang looked in that direction. Star masters sought out star generals, so they were all deferential. Several held inflated opinions of themselves and were mostly swagger. Even if there were some who also had misgivings about Maiden Mountain's prestige, they never dared to take a step beyond the limit. Originally, they were a bit skeptical when they learned from Chao of Su Xing's husband-wife relationship with his star generals, but now, they believed this shameless bastard was capable of doing anything. He was truly too brazen. Ignoring her overlord might and daring to embrace her, Hu Banzhuang's initial reaction was somewhat angry. Afterward, she felt very amused. Tomorrow, Banzhuang shall see what other tricks he has. Wife will not kill him? Bing Lingfeng asked. Chao said that we cannot kill him. And Banzhuang also wants to see just how far battle doctrine can allow this man to grow. Hu Banzhuang's beautiful eyes reflected Su Xing's figure. The girl's expression was unfathomable. Bing Lingfeng was taken aback. He leisurely said, if he is any more disrespectful to wife, then husband shall kill him on wife's behalf. Hu Banzhuang smiled but gave no reply. With the crisis averted, Shi Yuan saw that Su Xing had finally passed through the second day's trial, and her heart was very relieved. Hugging Su Xing's entire body, her arms wrapped around him even more tightly. She wanted this master to know that her figure was also very good. Su Xing, you were so shameless just now, to surprisingly go grope her. Su Xing awkwardly looked at Wu Xiao. Wu Xiao actually was quite magnanimous. Right now, she hated that Hu Banzhuang to the bone. Whatever Lord Husband did to her, the pilgrim felt quite indifferent. But Lord Husband, you took too great a risk just now. Wu Xiao was still very worried that if Hu Banzhuang seethed in anger just then, she would have destroyed their prior agreement. This Hu Banzhuang was too strong. Without Yingmei, she had no confidence. Su Xing just now also could not control himself. In the final bout, he was already unable to continue battle. He could only force her to abandon the dark rank and thus acted in panic. As for this point, Su Xing was still quite confident that being profaned like that, the majority of women would instinctively slap him. Hu Banzhuang, as the most beautiful star general, naturally was no exception. And Su Xing also knew that Hu Banzhuang's trial was not as playful as it seemed on the surface. More like, she was helping him improve his martial arts. This probably was related to the deaths of the other 2 overlords. Coupled with Chao Gai's various deeds and conduct, Su Xing wondered if perhaps some change occurred at Maiden Mountain that required his help. Su Xing, didn't this Banzhuang's body smell good? How is it compared to us wives? Zhang Yuqi winked and asked. Like perfume everywhere, and her figure was indeed very good, Su Xing sighed. When he hugged Hu Banzhuang just then, the girl's soft body and fragrance stuck to him like magnets. If it was not for Hu Banzhuang using her realm to force him away, in that moment, Su Xing was afraid to discover his body was surprisingly reluctant to part. Su Xing truly did not want to take advantage of Banzhuang. Anyway it was put, he was not a model soldier, but although he thought this, his body did not listen to his orders to let go. It was as if there was something magical about Banzhuang's body. The most famous earthly star beauty of these 9-star duels was a truth, as expected. Su Xing felt that in the future, the farther he stayed away from these femme fatale, the better. A giggle. Su Xing saw Gong Caiwei's smirking expression and the helplessness of his other wives. Only then realizing that they misunderstood him. How could your hubby be that kind of person who forgets his loyalties so easily? Su Xing shouted. All right, Lord Husband. Be careful next time. If Lord Husband truly can take her into your harem, your concubine shall not refuse. Wu Xiao said. The pilgrim's words seemed even more like ridicule. Taken the 7th Overlord? This beauty was indeed beautiful, but like a rose, she had her thorns. Su Xing would have to politely decline. Tomorrow's trial is 3 dark ranks. Young Su basically can't respond, right? How about you let Yuqi help you? Zhang Yuqi interjected. Your concubine is nearly recovered. Wu Xiao nodded. She could not allow Banzhuang to do whatever she pleased to her lord husband. Let's see tomorrow. Su Xing took a deep breath. He was actually quite calm about Banzhuang's trial. If they interfered, perhaps this woman would become very terrifying. However, he was very aware that Wu Xiao and Zhang Yuqi were concerned about him. Su Xing could not easily oppose them. For the time being, he could only plan on resting and then make other plans later. Then this young lady will first help give you a massage, Su Xing. Sure Yuan happily rubbed her palms. Finally, it was her turn to service him. Yuan's technique was simply unbearable to watch, less than impressive. Wu Xiao was afraid that she would contrarily make Su Xing's wounds even more serious and very urgently stopped her before doing it herself. However, the pilgrim had never helped massage a man before. Her technique was also very unpracticed. At this time, Su Xing quite longed for little Yi's dexterous fingers. Skillful star wanderer Yanizhan was walking along the bustling street. She came to the front of a red building known as School of Emotional Painting. This building's pillars were brightly adorned, flying pavilions of flowing red, its jade platforms quite impressive. The men and women coming and going were dressed luxuriously. They were extraordinary folk. Yanizhan looked around. This was the building. Searching her thoughts for a moment, the girl then entered the building. Upon entering inside, she heard a mellow guqin sound. A servant girl in a backless dress entering the room drew the attention of everyone. Her vermilion eyes, her gorgeous tattoo, her graceful figure and slender hands, none of the girls in the School of Emotional Painting could compare. If it was not for Yanizhan's eyes being too threatening, many would have come up to show off to her. Yanizhan sat alone. No one dared come ask anything of her. Facing the musician playing her flute on the stage. Her tune was skillful, yet Yanizhan remained unmoved. Gradually, after some amount of time, the patrons in the School of Emotional Painting had all already left. The vast hall was left with only the maid. She appeared to be very desolate. Yanizhan's gaze was glued to the stairs. From beginning to end, she had made no movements at all. Finally, the main door upstairs that had been shut tight gently opened. A woman walked down. How should the beautiful woman be described? This woman's eyes were like limpid autumn waters, and her cheeks were made up with a slight rouge. Her brows were dark as ink, and her lips were peach blossoms. She was beyond flowers, a natural beauty. Wearing beautiful clothing, her long, jet-black hair was wrapped into a beautiful bun, with several strands fallen astray. Also, she wore several elegant golden coats covering a half-transparent silk shirt of the same color. Her skirt dragged along the ground, and her large sleeves were rolled like clouds, concealing a pair of dexterous hands. Her simple but elegant palace dress was bound with a phoenix carving belt, outlining the slender curves of her lower body. Her brows are as elegant as spring mountains, a pity they grow wrinkled. Some may stain beauty with clear tears, afraid the flower is as meager. The clear jade flute plays a while, a song quite unknown. Yet knowing the sun depends on the fence, but ask for the willow it stops before. This beauty was like an autumn moon. The woman who was elegant as the sun smiled faintly, reciting a poem. The far-off mountain is wrinkled like a brow, a delicate thin willow waist. The woman stands in a spring breeze, a smile missing 1,000 gold. When she returns to the Fengcheng, she says of the brothel, everywhere I look are flowers, not as good as a teacher. Yan Yizhen looked at her, some other expression finally appearing on her indifferent face as she recited a poem in challenge. The woman was surprised and immediately saluted. Little girl is Li Shishi. Yan Yizhen was briefly blank, as if she was recalling the scene when she first met Su Xing, slave servant is Yan Yizhen. Little E. Yan Yizhen nodded and responded. Little E has come to this school of emotional painting for little girl. Li Shishi slightly smiled, as if she had been waiting for her a long time. Precisely. Yan Yizhen answered. Slave servant wants the heavenly book and also asks that Li Shishi give pointers. Yan Yizhen earnestly requested. Li Shishi pondered for a moment. Shishi has kept the heavenly book in safekeeping for little E for a long time. To have this heavenly book, things shall not be difficult. Shishi has heard that the skillful star wanderer is a person of talent. Upon meeting today, Shishi also wishes to ask for guidance. Slave servant shall do her utmost. The hall was completely empty. The candle flames dimmed, and the scene turned hazy. Nevertheless, Li Shishi's white hand gently invited Yan Yizhen to take the stage. A guzheng was set upon the stage. Li Shishi played calmly. Yan Yizhen understood tacitly, took up a flute and harmonized. Listening to this duet, just like the sounds of nature, each note matched the myriad notes of Li Shishi's. Li Shishi's smile was increasingly fuzzy. She could not help but lower her head to sing of Prince Lanling, willows hang straight, strands of green in the mist. Upon the dike, I saw them many times, floating off in the water, the song ended. Li Shishi was unable to remain calm for a long time. Her rouge was running, and her eyes were moist. She gazed at Yan Yizhen, unable to refrain from admiration. Lady Shishi, satisfied? Yan Yizhen asked. Li Shishi slowly rose, not answering. This woman as beautiful as a poem suddenly spun around, her cloud sleeves unraveling. At this moment, she was in a spry dance. Yan Yizhen did not understand why, but she warily watched her, not daring to let down her guard around this beautiful woman. Very few powerful martial force star generals would use a trial of beauty and ambiguity to end things. Skillful star wanderer Yan Qing's heavenly book could not possibly have been so easy to obtain as a simple verse and song. Just as expected, when Li Shishi's dance like an aureole reached its peak, she suddenly separated her arms. Smoothly on either side of her, two beautiful fans appeared in her hands. These fans opened. They were colored red, shaped like divine birds. The frame of these fans were feathers. At the center of the fans were 6 stars. A phoenix accompanied the fans, and Li Shishi herself was full of even more gracefulness. Similarly, a phoenix faintly manifested. True phoenix realm. Li Shishi held 2 fans, Feng, in her left, and Huang, in her right. This was a famous and beautiful star weapon of Star World. Begin with a dance, end with a battle, Li Shishi's voice was as pleasant to listen to as running water. Yan Yizhen understood. She clenched her fists, and the yin-yang carps floated around her fists as they clashed with Li Shishi's Feng Huang. Following Li Shishi brandishing Feng Huang, in a dance, Yan Yizhen charged forth, dazzling as a darting sparrow. The most beautiful martial dance begrudgingly commenced. Liked it? Speaking of Shiyu, she was also in quite a pickle. She worked together with Chai Ling, Gu Tong, and Zhang Feiyu, yet they were still unable to defeat Yan Wudao. This man showed no qualms about hurting the fairer sex, acting with ferocity and firmness in every move. He had pursued them for several days. Shiyu honestly did not want to use the light-shifting image-switching mirror, so in the end, they had fled all the way to the Black Turtle territory. The Black Turtle territory was where the water illusion fairy became famous. At last, they had escaped Yen Wudao. Afterwards, she thought that since they had arrived at the Black Turtle territory, they may as well let Zhang Feiyu enter her heavenly book dream at the volcanic ley line of an island in the Black Turtle Sea. And ever since noble star Chai Ling joined the Star Duels, she appeared even more excited, especially after she obtained her former volume heavenly book. Zhang Feiyu even said that this woman had gone mad, that they needed Su Xing to stop her. Even after escaping to the Black Turtle territory, Chai Ling remained fearless. She took Xing'er around to look for gold or on the seafloor for Xing'er to devour. Today when she returned, she brought back news that no one imagined they would ever receive. Lu Xiao had been discovered. Jade Qilin Lu Xiao faced great danger in comprehending her heavenly books. They had thought about this at the Bright Moon Longevity Palace, but Lu Xiao's pride as the #1 martial general would not allow any interference. However, considering that Lu Xiao handled her matters very cleanly from the moment she had appeared, Su Xing actually was not very worried about her. But Shiyu never imagined that Lu Xiao would still be discovered, and surprisingly in the Black Turtle territory at that. Soon, Lu Xiao will be in trouble. Chai Ling's expression was grim. According to what she learned, the Devil's Tar Palace's 4 great law protectors may have gone together with the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon to kill the Strength Star. To call for Su Xing right now was too late. What do we do? Gu Tong asked, concerned. Shiyu's brow was tightly locked. Zhang Feiyu was still in her heavenly book trial, completely unable to move. Could it be that they could only watch helplessly as Lu Xiao was devoured like a lamb by a tiger? We'll just have to help Su Xing drag this woman into his harem. Just as they were anxious, they heard a shameless laugh. Zhang Feiyu opened her red, gem-like eyes. She was in high spirits. It seemed that she had obtained her former volume heavenly book. You have emerged so quickly. Chai Ling said in shock. This woman obtained her heavenly book a little too quickly. Yeah. Originally, I, Feiyu, nearly died. I don't why, but it seems I got possessed by my little sister. Then, I got rid of that Fang Tianding. Zhang Feiyu felt this was strange. You truly are sisters. Could it be that Yuqi has been defeated in her heavenly books, so she cast the blame on you, the elder sister who actually did pass? Chai Ling joked. Zhang Feiyu shrugged. This is good. We must hurry. Shiyu said. Everyone agreed, not hesitating for a moment. Devil Star Palace. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon was wild with joy receiving Lu Xiao's information. Inwardly, he said, this Holy Lord finally has a change in fortune. As long as he killed Lu Junyi, the head of the Martial Force Star Generals, then he could secure his spot in the 7 Stars Assembly. Fortunately at this moment, River Dragon Li Luan had emerged from her former volume heavenly book trial. Li Xiangfei's trial was Tianhu, to break through Taiyuan City. This battle expended most of Li Xiangfei's strength, enough that she used more than 15 days. In the end, she used a water attack magic, drawing in a myriad of rivers into Taiyuan. Only by flooding the city did she finally end the trial and obtain the former volume heavenly book. After she emerged from the heavenly book trial, Li Xiangfei had risen to a new realm. Her heart was also very relaxed, and hearing of Lu Xiao's whereabouts, she also knew that this was the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's last chance to change his fortunes. For this, Holy Lord, please remember Xiangfei's words. Li Xiangfei calmly said. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon knew what she meant and humbly nodded. Following the Devil Star Palace's orders, the 4 great law protectors and Su Xingxiang also went to go kill Lu Xiao. 9 Dragons Palace. Song Qingxi was currently in the former volume heavenly book and unable to move. Therefore, this matter could only be relayed to Palace Master Shi Jingluan, who realized that Sun Yueying's plan was secret. Although she knew this was shameful to Lu Xiao, there was no other way. They could only borrow this opportunity to establish rapport with Lu Xiao, to possibly bring her into the uprising someday. However, this matter absolutely could not be divulged to anyone else. Considering that the Devil's Star Palace would dispatch its Star Master, Shi Jingluan decided to personally set out. Following along were the Huangfu Yuyun who had just emerged from her heavenly book, and Wang Jingji and the girls from the Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion. Sun Yueying, Xian Yunshang, and the others were left to protect the Nine Dragons Palace so as to avoid luring the Devil's Star Palace over. Both sides were grand and mighty. However, the Black Turtle Territory's other star generals at the Three Ruans Water Fort was much calmer. No lights. No activity. Calm and quiet, with its gates shut tight, it appeared they were still comprehending the heavenly books. At this time, the heavenly books' greatest crisis arose. On the 24th day of the heavenly books, Su Xing and Hu Banzhuang engaged the third trial. Hu Banzhuang still had a bit of compassion, giving Su Xing 1 day's rest. However, the third trial still was swift and decisive, her attacks very ruthless. Metal clashed and figures crisscrossed over the snowy plains. Hu Banzhuang's twin sabers clashed with Wu Xiao's twin swords, the collisions creating enormous attacks, shaking the entire frozen plains. The air seemed even more frozen than before. Wu Xiao's swords slashed, the airflow on her blades gathering into sharp saber light, ripping the air to shreds. Then, the woman's figure flickered, vanishing from Hu Banzhuang's sight. Countless peach blossoms bloomed in the air, gathering into countless murderous auras. By the time she looked again, Wu Xiao was already in front of Hu Banzhuang. When she reappeared, she briefly dazzled the eyes. Earth-rank Ownerless peach tree is in bloom, was already stabbing towards Hu Banzhuang. The peach blossoms opened on her blade gathered together in an instant. Hu Banzhuang's double sabers intercepted the incoming slash. Hey! Together in the drizzle. Her silhouette abruptly vanished. Hu Banzhuang already reappeared in front of Wu Xiao with an air-shattering flash. Her double sabers raised a resplendent drizzle, enclosing the two of them. Her gorgeous swordsmanship emerged layer upon layer, completely suppressing Wu Xiao's earth rank. Wu Xiao was very surprised. Since you wish to help your lord husband block Banzhuang's saber, then Banzhuang shall satisfy your wish. Only hope that your lord husband loves you and has not taken away your star nest. Hu Banzhuang's attack was very relaxed. Each slash was like a brush stroke, and Wu Xiao's defense was unable to resist, being cut apart. The 7-star destined weapon combined with Hu Banzhuang's overwhelming realm rendered Wu Xiao very powerless. But to think this could kill Wu Xiao. She was underestimating a certain someone too much. A ray of yellow earth chi rolled and covered Wu Xiao. None of the saber lights could bring much damage to it. When Hu Banzhuang looked, that man had interceded once again. Purple fiend. Su Xing snapped his fingers. The terrifying and scalding purple light practically ripped the entire space apart. This again. Su Xing, have you not even the smallest of new surprises to give Banzhuang? Hu Banzhuang had already grown weary of seeing this dull ability. She leisurely cut it down. Then, her body flickered, instantly arriving in front of Su Xing, the 30th bout. Her speed was too fast. This slash directly stuck into Su Xing's heart. If it was not for the protection of the meditative mind lotus flower, perhaps this would have left him at death's door. Then I'll give you a new embrace. Su Xing endured the pain and chuckled. Hu Banzhuang's expression immediately changed. Chaotic tail escape. Bloodlight flashed. This time, Hu Banzhuang's killing intent actually came. With her highest true phoenix realm, she slashed, destroying this blood shadow. It turned out that Su Xing did not really want to take advantage of her. This movement was merely to circle around behind her. But even so, Su Xing's shoulder was still slashed. This Hu Banzhuang truly was much stronger than any of the other 4 overlords he had seen. The chaotic tail escape that could move freely through Yangshan was surprisingly unable to slip past Hu Banzhuang's superb swordsmanship. If he had actually gone to pounce on the girl's chest just then, this time he would have inevitably been cut in two by the vigilant Banzhuang. To be able to make herself out of reach, most beautiful Star General naturally had absolutely powerful strength to protect this fact. Su Xing was very aware of this. You were surprisingly able to keep up with Banzhuang's 30 bouts, one yellow technique. Battle doctrine indeed makes Banzhuang feel jealous. Banzhuang turned around, slightly smiling. There are still 10 bouts. Su Xing was not happy at all. These 30 bouts completely used all of his abilities, squandered all of his tricks. The meditative mind Lotus Flower and Purple Fiend were already at their limits, incapable of further use, and Su Xing needed to supply star energy to his wives to comprehend their heavenly books. This battle could be said to be exceptionally difficult. If he had flying swords, Su Xing felt that 30 bouts would not have been a problem. The chaotic tail escape was unable to avoid Banzhuang's body techniques. Then 31, 32, 33 bouts came quickly, making Shi Yuan and the other spectating girls very alarmed. But unfortunately, Su Xing was determined to not allow them to step forward to assist. Otherwise, for these last few slashes, Su Xing truly wanted to use her body to help shield Su Xing's 37th bout. Su Xing finally could not handle the strain. He did not even have the strength to use the chaotic tail escape. Seeing Su Xing so tenacious, even Banzhuang could not help but be awed. Let alone her each and every bout was toying with Su Xing. In reality, Banzhuang was forcing Su Xing into a corner to finally summon his flying swords. Banzhuang knew that Su Xing's flying swords were extraordinary. If those immemorial 5-element sword chants were summoned, they would bring her great trouble, but even so, Su Xing surprisingly still did not use his flying swords. Could this actually be the reason that this man and a star general would become true husband and wife? Banzhuang was puzzled. However, everything must come to an end. Banzhuang put on a faint smile, raised her sabers, and decided to give Su Xing despair. Her figure moved. Banzhuang suddenly appeared in front of Su Xing, using her dark technique together in the Drizzle. The 7-star saber's lights were like a mist, thoroughly enshrouding Su Xing, powerful killing intent twisted. Not expecting to face a dark rank, Su Xing still was not flustered at all. Earth chi surrounded his body, deflecting the saber light. Banzhuang was surprised. Su Xing sneered. Suddenly, an aura of mountain-like majesty bore down upon them. Banzhuang turned to look. Unexpectedly, a beautiful girl was striking with her palm. This woman was not a star general, but this attack was nevertheless full of might. Banzhuang cut her down. This was surprisingly a psychic spirit. 39th bout. Banzhuang chillingly spun half around, her light smoke dance steps flanking Su Xing, inwardly jeering that this man had surprisingly dared to send himself to die by entering close quarters. Banzhuang was absolutely blunt. She suddenly grinned, moved her hand, and a red lasso fired out of her left hand to firmly bind Su Xing. This time, you will not escape. Banzhuang smiled, certain of victory. This was the "these feelings are endless" lasso. One sword immediately entered Su Xing's chest. All of a sudden, a rainbow light burst out of Su Xing's body. Banzhuang was startled. Golden wind was unable to penetrate. This is bad, an earth rank technique. Banzhuang was worried, but the lasso kept Su Xing at her side, now contrarily leaving her no place to run. Su Xing's claw swiped at Banzhuang's chest. 5-clawed true dragon technique. Liked it? The 9-clawed true dragon cultivation was originally obtained back when he killed Long Outyan. The reason he cultivated it was because he felt he could use this claw quite well for sudden sneak attacks in close quarters. His hand curled like a dragon's claw, gathering all of his body's energy. Suddenly, he slashed, deeply penetrating and unblockable. Against a cultivator, this would have been more than enough to tear apart their defensive artifacts and abilities with room to spare. Su Xing did not hesitate to use this against Banzhuang at all. Banzhuang was completely unable to evade. She stared helplessly as Su Xing's claw went for her chest. There was the sound of her brocade ripping. 5 gashes extended from her shoulders straight to her waist. Her clothes and bodice were torn at the same time, revealing the snow-white flesh behind. But compared to these, this was nothing. In fact, Banzhuang's realm was very high. Su Xing's attack did not bring her too much harm. On the contrary, when those pesky claws slashed her chest, the girl moaned. The instant the claws passed, they sent Banzhuang flying. As she tumbled, an arrow filled to the brim with boiling murderous intent immediately fired from behind Su Xing towards Banzhuang. Just as Bing Lingfeng was about to intervene, Banzhuang suddenly yelled. Her double sabers clashed, producing a frightening aura, as if that mountain-toppling tsunami was shattering Ice Soul Valley's tens of thousands of years of snow. The 10,000-li god-killing arrow was instantly annihilated, and the counterattack's remaining power fell upon Su Xing. However, before the unrivaled rainbow light subsided, Su Xing managed to escape unscathed. Banzhuang saw that her chest was revealing quite the erotic sight. Her snow-white cheeks were red as fire, and that alluring smile on her face finally disappeared. She looked at Su Xing with honestly incomparable resentment. She could not help but concede this was the reason Su Xing was able to contract the 1,000-year star generals. The immaculate peaceful mind she thought she possessed had suffered unprecedented shock in these short few days testing Su Xing. This man appeared to be hateful indeed. Sensing these thoughts, Banzhuang was startled. The bright star immediately took a deep breath. Her tattered clothes recovered their original appearance, and her attitude also re-entered a tranquil state. She could not have love nor hatred for anyone. To only use the most tranquil mind to be able to wield the strongest state was Banzhuang's persistence in the previous star duels. By relying on this kind of thinking, she could remain unbeatable before the strongest martial generals, to contrarily kill 4 star masters working together against her. Humph. A curve appeared upon Banzhuang's lips. Her smile returned, and she gazed profoundly at Su Xing. She sheathed her double sabers and turned to walk towards Bing Lingfeng. Bing Lingfeng stared meaningfully at Su Xing. That was really dangerous just now. Sure, Yuan patted her pounding chest. That Banzhuang nearly made this young lady a widow. If that last these feelings our endless lasso was added on to passion transmission, anyone else would have been dead for sure. Su Xing also had lingering trepidation. If it was not for his link with Hua Wanyue after the double sevens, he would not have dared take such a risk just then. Wanyue, when did you awaken? Wu Xiao asked. Hua Wanyue saw that Su Xing was unhurt and elegantly nodded. Not long, but knowing that Milord is in a trial, I did not immediately inform you. Many thanks for your sun-piercing heavenly rainbow. Wu Xiao smiled. It had caught Banzhuang unprepared, otherwise the ending would have been different. Hua Wanyue also said, and many thanks, Xiao, for helping defend Milord from 2 dark ranks. Wanyue, how are your heavenly books? Su Xing asked her. Immediately, his brow creased, and he asked in worry, don't tell me you woke up because of my battle with Banzhuang. Star generals inside the heavenly book dream were practically unaware of the outside world. Unless met with some special or serious effect, they would not wake. However, Su Xing already was specifically and very carefully far away from the array. There was also Zhu Sha and his 5 elements banner and swords fixing the array. This should have been averted. I already obtained the 3 heavenly books. Hua Wanyue flipped her hand to reveal 3 books. Hua Wanyue's former volume Heavenly Book Trial was not so difficult. She taught a little sister Hua Baoyan archery. In the end, they naturally traded blows. She possessed a link to Su Xing from the double sevens, so she was even more keen in advance to danger Su Xing faced. Thus, she awoke first. Hua Wanyue then asked about the past several days, learning about Banzhuang's trial. Right now, Su Xing is completely unable to budge. How will he handle tomorrow's trial? Zhang Yuqi sighed. She gazed at the Su Xing being held by Wu Xiao. The current Su Xing was already incapable of moving. Even the best star generals would be exhausted after consecutive high-intensity battles, let alone Su Xing. To be able to last this long, this was already very awesome. But young Su wants to eat Banzhuang. Tomorrow, she will definitely eat young Su. Zhang Yuqi helplessly shrugged. Has Suwen not awakened? Hua Wanyue asked. In the 5 elements array, and Suwen was still inside her dream within the wood element array. The girl was calm, good fortune laying beside her, emitting green light and qi. The surrounding grass was full of life. Who knew what trial the efficacious star divine physician was facing in the heavenly book dream, to surprisingly not awaken after so long. Shall we call Suwen back? Tang Lianxin thought. Right now, Su Xing was already unable to participate in tomorrow's trial. Their sole solution now was to make Suwen wake up. With the divine physician resent, using a day to heal Su Xing's injuries ought to be no problem. At least, he could make do facing an overlord, otherwise he would be a sitting duck. Wu Xiao, Hua Wanyue and the other girls looked at each other. In the end, they honestly could not think of any other solutions. In a close to 100-round battle, in a contest of true Phoenix Realm martial arts, even though Su Xing was already very tenacious, his body was left with grave internal injuries. To recover in one day was only possible within Suwen's life-returning magic hands. Just as Shi Yuan was about to call Suwen awake, Su Xing stopped her. Don't wake Suwen up. Lord husband, you are unable to fight like this. Wu Xiao wrinkled her brow. Your concubine knows that you are worried about Suwen's heavenly book, but your concubine believes that if Suwen knew that Lord husband was like this right now, she would definitely awaken. Milord. You must not misplace your valor and courage. This overlord is very powerful. Only by waiting for Yingmei and the others awaken, and for several more days of the heavenly books will we have a chance of victory. Hua Wanyue advised. Su Xing naturally understood this logic. But he had his own considerations. Let Suwen carefully comprehend her heavenly books. Su Xing looked at Suwen's warm dreaming appearance. He smiled lovingly. She's been in the heavenly book dream for so long, she must have something important. Let's not disturb her. For tomorrow's trial, I'll make the Ghost Cavalry King and Empress too emerge. They should be enough to last 50 bouts. If not, I'll have to count on you girls. The Ghost Cavalry King was equivalent to Extreme Realm, and with the 10,000-year Gu Demon and the Ghosts God's Bane, they should have a chance against Banzhuang. Empress too was already being refined into a projection by Su Xing. She already had her own consciousness. At the crucial moment, she could display an important function. Add on Su Xing's purple star transforming qi being already at a bottleneck, if he could break through to the highest realm, purple cloud east approaches, then he would have even greater certainty. Hua Wanyue and Wu Xiao glanced at each other, helpless. Gong Caiwei looked at Su Xing and his discussion with his wives from the side. This princess actually has a method to make you recover quickly, Su Xing. Hesitating, Gong Caiwei finally spoke. What? Everyone's gazes shifted over to her. Princess Caiwei, may we ask what that method is? Wu Xiao cupped her fist. If it can immediately cure Lord Husband, your concubine cannot thank you enough. Su Xing was curious. Gong Caiwei hesitated. She suddenly met with Su Xing's gaze, and her face blushed. Liked it?